dark, feeling confused, didn't know if it was love in my heart. Called you my bubbly bear, you have such great hugs of love. Didn't make much sense, but I think I got it right. Oh, what a feeling I've got inside. Oh, 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 what a feeling I've got love and life in Angeles City, love and life in the Philippine life. Day after day, something growing in your mind. We met on the moon, you were dancing in the dark from the start. Could it be the feeling of love? Could it be the feeling of love? Could it be the feeling of love? Could it be the feeling of love?
Good morning, guys. Happy Easter to everybody.
Happy Easter. What is going on? Good morning. Good morning. Got my Easter get up going on here.
Good morning or good evening, wherever you are.
Just got back from church. Started at 3 this morning. It actually did. They were actually singing about 4 a.m. They've been out there.
No, they have.
But funny thing is that they've been celebrating Holy Week all week. Thursday and Friday officially ended it. They were back to business as of yesterday and today. Like the pharmacies literally said open back up on Sunday. So it actually, so Easter itself, I guess in the United States, it's like so commercialized and celebrated there too. But here they're back to business. Their Holy Week thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about yesterday.
They were back to business yesterday. They were delivering Lazada. All of them were delivering yesterday. They got 2 packages next door. I know so because they yell out, and then I think it's us. So, yeah. So it's been okay. So that's what they said. Hold on. Yeah, delivery today on Easter. Happy Easter, guys. Oh, show them your Easter basket here too. So they're saying delivery, right?
Yeah, they're confirming.
Yes. They're probably just confirming that we're here. So, yeah. So looks like we will get a delivery today. Show them your where. Oh, did you? You did.
I didn't move it. You did.
Oh, probably for your coffee.
It's awkward. Sorry. What?
You must not be awake there, babe.
No, it's kind of hard to show. It's got some gin in there. It's got Hey, wait a minute. Why is this open?
Because Mama got some munchies after the Nookie Wookie.
This is chalk nuts. For those of you,
Choco nuts.
well, it just says chalk nuts. Yeah, chalk nuts. I know that's what it stands for, chocolate, yes. But it's really, really good. And it's got brownies. And then we have caramel popcorn.
We did not manage jelly beans.
Caramel popcorn.
I didn't.
Now this is something healthy. This is a
dark chocolate mango bars. Now them are about $5-6. They're even higher on Lazada. We got it from
really
Landers.
good, but to some of you who aren't familiar with dark chocolate, there is a bitter taste to it, but to me they're still sweet. I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah. That's what I use when I'm looking for the sugar cravings, and the dark chocolate's got pieces of mango on it, but No, we started out early this morning. What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Just settings.
We're going to be doing this live stream for a while. So, really, today we want to cover also don't make my mistakes, wasting money and time, but mostly wasting money and how expats, whether they're vacationing, but mostly when they come into retirement, they spend a ton of money when they first get here, and they spend a ton of money on a bunch of women when they arrive. You've heard almost every vlogger that's in the genre that we cover, that's in the expat help showing their lives, the original vloggers that came here during the pandemic, pre-pandemic, they've all talked about how guys get here, and when the ratio is anywhere between 45 to 60 per dollar on the exchange, they just go nuts when they have all those extra bills. It looks like you're banking when you pick up any money from the bank. And so I think they tend to overspend, and we'll talk about that. That's going to be one of our discussions throughout this live stream. So most definitely. So yeah, I shaved my head 2 days ago. Just kidding. You guys see me on the live 2 days ago. Candy corn, Ted, they have it's online, and it's usually about $20 for a small bag. So when we receive gifts from people sent to us, they have sent us candy corn. There's some factory company in the US, I think it's called Candy Factory. We've been sent a few bags of that, and because it is the same with canned pumpkin. Always appreciate it when people send that, because the canned pumpkin is about $20. And I did see a company that's claiming they make pumpkin pie. Now, whether it's available if you go to place an order for it, it's another thing. But yeah, so all the traditional, I mean, we haven't been to Landers, like we've ordered online here the last month or so. So we haven't physically been in there to see their Easter stuff. I'm sure they have different things that they're selling, but as far as like at SM or different things, I didn't see it on the list for the jelly beans. But I could order jelly beans on Lazada, but it wouldn't have came here if I had started 2 weeks ago. So I just didn't.
Yeah. Laura says the wig is cute. I like black jelly beans the best. I guess those are the licorice flavored ones.
Yeah.
I like candy corn and circus peanuts. I haven't heard of circus peanuts in a long time.
Wow. Yeah, I haven't either. I like circus peanuts. Them were big candies in the 70s and 80s. And my mom used to be my mom's favorite. It is for me. And it's funny you would mention that, Laura, because the circus peanuts have that banana flavor, and that's what you kind of crave along with the chewiness and the fluffiness in it. Or like here they make the gulaman. It's a black drink, and it has that same banana flavor. That's what I said. It's got the jello into it. It's not saga. It is the
It looks
nata.
like sweet. It looks like sweetened black tea that tastes like banana.
Right. So it's got the same flavor.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
What do you mean, hey, Rick?
Scott,
Oh, he's talking about Slick Rick.
World. Hello, George and Heidi.
Hey, what is going on?
Laura says I have 0 sweets for 21 days, but officially 19. That's funny.
I'm letting it go, but like today we've been up for a couple hours, and what'd you have this morning? Supposed to make some ham later, but we ended up splurging again on pizza yesterday, which we don't do all the time. And so we have leftover from Pizza Hut. We ended up getting the barbecue, and there's some sort of white pizza, which is really odd. It's more of a dessert pizza, but just a little tiny one. but it's got like a vanilla. What would you describe that pizza? Like a vanilla. It's got like cream cheese in it. It's got mozzarella
It's
cheese.
good. Don't
It's
get
a
me
vanilla
wrong.
pizza, is what it is to me, but it's got real cheese on it. So it's kind of savory and sweet at the same time.
Although I think that Hawaiian pizza was overpriced, in my opinion.
We got one Hawaiian pizza
Is it
that
a 12
was,
inch?
it's not even 12. I think they said that it was a 9 or something. It's extremely small. If you cut it, and if you took actual slices, it's probably 4. If you cut it, if it would be regular slices,
Yeah.
but they
Now
made them really small.
it's 500 pesos, but don't get me wrong, 1,000 pesos is a full size pizza.
Yeah. So if you get domestic, what I call not domestic, but if you get the expat company or the foreign pizza, it tends to be high. But I know in the US, I know the prices are going up, but sometimes it's like sticker shock for us because 500 pesos, I guess in our minds, we thought it
Well,
was
like I
bigger.
said, that's why I gave the price of a full size pizza, 1,000 for a full size, 500 for half. I mean, yes and no, but not really when it comes to pizza sizes.
Well,
It's
it
not the
kept me from
same.
cooking, and it was our lunch dinner, and we'll probably be eating it today. So it's not like, but it was 2 small pizzas. The one was barbecue, the one was the Hawaiian Supreme, and then there was the small dessert pizza along with 8 wings was 2,300. So that's somewhere around $46. That's expensive here in the Philippines. So it's kind of insane, but we do indulge so we don't have to cook. We don't have the kids. We don't miss having to. I don't miss that because ever since I was 18 years old, there was always like something going on where I was cooking, preparing for holidays. And that's a good thing about being in full retirement, and not like if I was back in the US around the family, I would insist on either going to somebody's house, but then I would be cooking a bunch. And ever since I've been with George for what's it been, 5 6 years now, I'm just roundabout, I always did cook in the United States a bunch. I still do here, but
Yeah, now this is actually part of the topic, to be honest with you guys. Now, for instance, during our last lives, we got some Krispy Kreme donuts, Easter donuts.
oh, they weren't that
Now,
good.
they're relatively cheap, and that's the key point. It's relatively. What I'm saying is,
I want some
did
of them donuts.
they were $20 for a dozen, six regular glazed and
Glazed. Yeah.
6 fully decorated Easter donuts, Krispy Kreme. Okay, now to us that seems exorbitant
Yes.
because
So
$20 for a dozen.
a
Oh my gosh, that's a lot. But
a
guess what?
thousand pesos to 9 out of 10 Filipinos would be really crazy
No,
just
it
to
is.
have 12 donuts.
Right, but if you look at Krispy Kreme prices in the USA, we
They're
literally
double.
paid half. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, 6 donuts alone, that's $20.
Yeah. Let us know what you
Regular
pay for a
glaze.
dozen donuts in
Right.
the US. Well, that and the other part of talking today is that during this live stream, we'll be on for several hours. We're doing one of our holiday lives. For those that have been around, they know we do our lives on holidays. We wasn't going to do one till Tuesday, and then me and George was like, tomorrow we're here for you guys and a little bit in the US. It's Easter for those that are here, but for those that are in the US, their holidays coming. I was like, let's do it. We didn't do one yesterday, and we usually every holiday sit down and do live streams with people on our holidays. We've already, you know, done our thing this morning and been up for a few hours, but um no, we want to talk about, like I said, the amount of money you tend to waste. Then when you adjust to the money, it's a real thing. And even when you have money in the bank, and your um when you have the money in the bank and then have the ability to buy, there are days that George will see me like I'm starting to, I can't pay that. It's just some days I'll look at something, and even though it's a fraction of the cost, you'll struggle with the money thing. Like when I've been giving out 200 peso tips because of the holiday and 100 peso tips, I always tend to, when either a Filipino won't tip at all, it's not a tipping culture here, or it's 50 pesos for deliveries. It shows average is 20 to 40 is what it says. common, I think it said 40 or 20. They showed a common that most people give. Is it 40 or 20 on the apps? I think it's 40. But either way, it's like some days it just, but I can't do it all the time. If I keep giving 100 and 200, it's usually the same drivers that come through, or when we're at restaurants, we don't want them. It's kind of like you don't want them to get used to it either. In other words, they'll expect that. For like people, when I've worked in the past and I did food delivery and I was an Uber driver, and these were in my retirement years that I did these type of jobs. And actually, those were the only tipping jobs that I had. When somebody would give me $20, I guess somewhere in my mind, I would expect it. Like they drop people off at the airport. If they give you 5, it's kind of like, oh, damn, what did I do wrong? So it does make you think about it. I did. I was like, did I do something wrong this time? But you got used to the $20 tips at the airport. So that's just where it is. But a lot to discuss today. So there was something I was looking for. We probably will.
James says it's 17.99 a dozen at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I think it depends. Yeah, I don't know where. How much did you say you seen online?
Well, that's from the actual official Krispy Kreme's website.
And it said it was how much a dozen?
Well, I believe Krispy Kreme, but remember that's their what do you call that?
Oh, their main one. So
Their main, as in it doesn't
okay,
matter
so yeah, right
what.
there. Yeah,
Right, I didn't
25.
specify a state because they
Yeah.
asked me if I wanted to specify a state. I didn't. But what I'm saying is that's the ballpark figure. I mean, I'm not gonna go per state.
They were pretty yummy
You
a
know what I'm
couple
saying?
days ago. I
Yeah.
told George if they were open this morning, we may have some delivered in because they're doing the Easter ones and something about the
Yeah,
icing.
and that's
It's
Dunkin'
not.
Donuts, right? But
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme says dozens about 25. Right.
Because they were really like we both agreed that I thought I avoided. I ate one of the regular ones. I didn't eat it with the icing. I said I've been pushing them on George, and I thought I didn't want them because of all the sugar and the icing. I get migraines. It hurts my joints and all that. And George, I was like, now let me try one, and it was they were pretty yummy. Their icing isn't super heavy, so I was really.
Well, yeah, and Mr. Donut's cheaper too.
Yeah, I like Mr.
Yeah,
Donuts
I mean
too.
that was Krispy Kreme. That is different.
Yeah, we don't like.
Yeah.
People probably think that we're sitting around eating them all the time, or I am, but I mean, no, we do it. Usually towards the holidays, or it's a
Right.
kind of nice.
MB, hello, Philippine Antics Squad. I have Coachella on the projector and Philippine Antics on the TV. Sorry, you guys got demoted.
Oh,
Smile, be
snap.
happy. Thumbs up. All right. Light
Yes,
spot.
guys.
Popcorn. All right.
Oh, it's the
Yeah, I know.
the emblem. Yeah.
Hello, beautiful people. There it is.
And we might get into talking about different topics because we're not going to be able to sit here and talk about just what's going on with us and that. We always flip into other topics. There have been topics on our mind. We will try to avoid the deportation situation in the U.S. We might end up talking about it. I know there's a bunch of flack and crack and crap going on with the ladies that floated into space, the big female astronauts.
Don't say that.
What?
They're not astronauts, okay?
What? Sweetie, that's exactly what they are. Huh, don't.
That's called sarcasm, guys.
Not really. They train so hard and they straighten their hair and they took their little science projects up into space to see if that
Since Heidi
daisy.
brought it up already.
Uh,
Okay. Now, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of questions.
I smile and be happy.
Now, the thing about there's nothing wrong with Blue Origin. There's nothing wrong with Jeff Bezos. There's nothing wrong with the passengers. Keyword
That's your
passengers.
opinion.
Actually, Heidi said it the best way is if Heidi rode, like say Heidi was hitchhiking on the highway,
What do I get to ride?
and a truck driver pulled over and picked her up. and then she rode with the truck driver,
I'm
drove
riding
to the next
in
city,
my
and then he drops her
car.
off. Does that make you a what?
I'm a truck driver.
Correct. No, it does not. Did they
I've
pilot?
turned on the
Are they a
radio.
crew? No, you are not a crew because a
I
crew actually
pull
have
him a
duties and
little
abilities and
closer.
correct. No, they did not have any of these. Okay. They did not pilot the craft. They had no responsibilities in the craft but to sit their asses down. Um now
I'm a truck driver.
correct. So that's
I rode in a truck, a semi truck.
right. Does that make me a pilot? Because you know how many times I've ridden in a plane in the US? I got sick and tired of it. It's kind of got boring.
You could
But
be an
point being
astronaut at
is,
that point, right?
thank you. But that's
Superman, because you were flying.
that's the point. Yeah, I'm Superman because I flew all over the U.S. Correct.
And you've been on a train.
So
flying.
are they astronauts? No, that is a big. And then I hate see Katy Perry is one thing. I mean, I'm not talking crap about Katy Perry, but the stuff that comes out of Katy Perry's mouth, just forget it.
Or
It's
Gail
really
King.
airheaded. Now,
Gail
Gail
King.
King, now that's my issue. She compared herself to Alan Shepard.
Oh, snap.
Now, the reason why she brought up Alan Shepard is, well, why? Because Blue Origin's ship is called the Shepherd. Okay.
Is it?
Yeah. It's Shepherd 2, I believe. Now, the Shepherd 2, that's its 31st flight. So there were 30 flights before that. Now, it was named after obviously Alan Shepard, who again is a real astronaut. And Alan Shepard, okay, did Alan Shepard pilot the ship? Yes, he actually did pilot the ship. Is Alan Shepard an
about a
astronaut?
waste of
Actually,
money. That's
he
why we're
is.
talking
He is
about it.
actually um was a fighter jet pilot and a test pilot before he became an astronaut, like most astronauts. To become an astronaut back then, you had to be a retired, well, not retired, but basically you're from the U.S. military, a jet pilot, and then turn into a test pilot, and then you get enlisted. You don't even choose; they pick you. Now, anyway, long story short, Alan Shepard again did a moonwalk. Point being, he's a real astronaut.
Real astronaut.
Now, talking about real astronauts, some of you will say, okay, what makes you say they're not? Again, for example, let's talk to the other commercial flight. Ever heard this thing called SpaceX? Those guys are real astronauts. Why are they real astronauts? You know why? Because they're actually they're rated. They rated for deep sea diving, scuba diving. They're actually jet fighter pilots. Yet they're civilians. Keyword: they're civilians, but they are trained to pilot jet fighters, and they have been into the zero. They've trained in everything. You name it. You know what I'm saying? They've been in the G-force changer. If those of you don't know
Yeah,
what that
real
is,
pilots.
they spin them around till they hit those several G's, and then they like literally have their faces sucked in. But anyway,
Yeah, I don't know. There's the reason we're talking about it because today we'll also be talking about waste of space and waste of money, and that's exactly kind of part of it. So we may be talking about other vloggers today or their ladies or who knows. But anyway, speaking of space of waste of space, but um, it would make sense because so many people in my opinion, there's so many theories out there that it never happened. The whole thing was a scam because they did open the hatch from the inside. That's my biggest problem. But then when you ask George, did it really happen? We both believe that they did that. They went to the, what do they call that? Clementine
Carmen.
age. Oh, okay. Called Clementine.
Carmen
Clementine
line.
Orange Edge. So they did go to that point, just like William Shatner. And I did look at William Shatner's video when he landed. Their ship, okay, did have a bunch of charredness on it, but then you have other what I call idiot vloggers that covered it with big channels, and they're comparing the one that's been in space for 9 months. You can't do that. You can't compare those two rockets. But if you go and look at the one that 3 years ago William Shatner and them were in, no, it definitely was dirty. This one was Snow White.
Well, no,
Saying
I get
that they're
yeah.
bimbos and going on about an all-female crew and that it was in the shape of a hung hung.
It is
Fooey.
phallic in nature, yes.
And to me, that's kind of not the issue with what's going on with these ladies. they wasted time and they're bragging and they're going
No,
on
it's not.
about
But
their
that is the shape of it. I mean, I'm just
and
saying.
how they did it for science, and the intention is to put trash into space in the future is what's his name is talking about, Jeff Bezos. And I'm like, yeah, there's a smart thing. Let's spend billions of dollars to send the trash on Earth up there, so it can float around. I think people are thinking about it free, but it's
Oh
probably
my
going to be in a
God.
capsule.
You
But I'm
brought
like, the
Jesus
fact that they're
Christ.
going to do that with the trash, I'm like, first
No.
off, that's going to be astronomical at the cost. And it's like, hey, George, we just got our trash bill today. How much is it? It's $999.
Well, see, that's another thing.
I mean, how
That's
are they going to
another
afford to
thing.
throw trash into
The one that
space?
said that is actually Gail.
She said that's Jeff Bezos'
I mean,
plans is to
I
put
get
trash
it,
into
but
space. But
so
she's not helping with that.
what I'm saying is
She brought Katy Perry along. She brought her own trash.
what I'm saying is she's supposedly this intelligent woman. Now I don't think so anymore.
I thought it was funny that Oprah Winfrey was on the ground and only so many people were there. And as soon as the cameras pointed at her, she started to cry, and she looked directly into the camera and
Yeah.
started
Now
crying.
those of you want to argue that no, she's rich. She can't be dumb. I never said that. First off, and second off, you can be rich and dumb.
Well, I think it's a waste of money, and it made me start thinking about how expats come here and waste money, and them being like, there's a lot going on to talk about today for sure, but it's become a whole situation where, you know, I think, as others have said, that that situation was meant to take the focus off the White House. That's what's really going on. Jeff Bezos is connected with the Billionaire Club, and they believe it was a distraction. And it is. It's every other vlog right now. Every vlog, news, they're still talking about it. But I think it was a distraction.
No, it
So,
is. And for those of you again who think that it didn't happen, no, it did happen. It's not really not that hard to do. And again, they went to the boundary, little. But like I told Heidi, he said they basically, went to the first street of the ghetto, which technically is the ghetto, but not the ghetto. You know what I'm saying?
M Dog, you sit down somewhere.
So what I'm saying is, if you walk in the ghetto, walk to the ghetto, or walk to the first street of the ghetto, and say, "Hey, I'm in the ghetto," and then walk out of it, that doesn't necessarily say you actually lived in the ghetto or walked in the ghetto. You were just
Right.
at the edge of it. You know what I'm saying?
That is true.
Doesn't do, it's nothing. It's like, oh, okay, you touched it. You went to space. Okay. And they did. They did go
They
there.
did.
Now, as far as the mannequin, the all those rigmarole about the door, those are all semantics, meaning most of those, be honest with you, I even told Heidi and other people, I've also said this is just they're trying to make things too perfect for the camera. You know what I'm saying? Oh, no, no, no. We want the first take to be this. And that's what I told Heidi too.
So
That
you think it landed somewhere else and they did a setup of another capsule somewhere else
that's very possible, yes. But the point being is
for
it
social
should have
media?
been
Yeah,
raw. It should have
because the capsule was
hit,
totally wide.
landed, and then ran up to it, do a continuous feed, shoot the whole thing,
And they
not
didn't.
cuts. Because now it looks edited. Now you have this mannequin on the window, which yes, I'm pretty sure that's a mannequin. But
Mhm.
point being is it should have been should have been a live feed of it landing and then just doing a continuous thing instead of trying to make everything picture perfect. Because that's what, you know, reporters do. Yes, I said reporters because reporters do want to make everything look perfect and everything else too.
Yeah, social media, babe. I mean, some like to do the live stuff and where it's partially scripted and all that. We get it. But yeah, I think they all want to make sure, yeah, that, I mean, most of the things they see as jokes, pranks, or look surprised, them are all set up these days
No, they're all
in
fake.
advance.
They're all
Yeah.
fake. They're always fake.
98% of the stuff is
Yeah,
fake
if there's
now.
anything faked, yeah, that's it. But no, they hit space. And for those of you wondering why the capsule isn't burned up, since we're still on the topic, the reason being is one, they really didn't reach that high.
But Alan Shatner's was.
Okay,
Because there's got to be, when it lifts off, there is flames.
okay. That's Well, not the liftoff. That's from the retros.
Okay,
Um,
but
I know I get it, but remember he's in the earlier flights too. Okay, first off, again, the Dragon capsule was in orbit, and when it hit re-entry, that's different because you have to fight. You have to burn up into the atmosphere in order to get there because the atmosphere is moving at 17,000 kilometers per hour or something like that. So basically, it's seriously that's how the burn happens, and that's why you need heat shielding. Although the Blue Origin does have heat shielding. Now, what I'm getting at, you can't compare the Dragon because he actually went to orbit. Now, the William Shatner thing, that's not re-entry burn. That's called a retro burn. That's from the rockets itself. Actually, Heidi said it. It's from the rockets. Yes, it is
there
from.
still would have been
It is from.
something.
Right. I get it. I get it. That's why I'm explaining that again. That's the earlier versions of Blue Origin. Again, I'm not discounting that the capsule was clean. In fact, I agree it is too clean, but also again, I'm pretty sure they cleaned it up because again, it's too clean. What I'm saying, these are PR mistakes in my book. They should never have cleaned it up. Everything should have been raw. Everything, no, because now they're. What I'm saying is it invalidates everything they've done so hard for. And again, it's kind of silly that the 31st flight they're disproving the 31st flight versus the other 30 flights that happened before. Kind of like William Shatner's been in one. Why nobody disproved it? You know why? Because nobody bragged about it. Nobody bragged about themselves. Nobody bragged that they're astronauts. Nobody bragged mm, that.
Their suits were designer suits. That was even funnier. They were so proud of the suits. And so,
Well, that's another thing.
well, another thing is I told you that the same with the Vitelli vlogging, you got vloggers now that like to rip those type of things apart.
Oh no,
And
no,
it was an
no.
all woman crew. They bragged about it. They kissed the ground. They did all this stuff. And I mean, I'm not totally against the thing, but I do think it was a waste of money and
No, no, no. It
resources.
is a waste. And again, all the 30 flights before this, they were never called a crew. And
Right. They
all the 30
insist.
flights before this, they never wore designer suits. What I'm saying is, you want to be taken seriously, don't have your suit designed by a designer.
And when Katy Perry was up there, she showed the butterfly showing her tour and everything. In other words, to me, it was all so social media. If they really just wanted to do that, they wouldn't have broadcasted
No,
as
they
much and
if they wanted to
talked
be
as
taken seriously,
much.
they probably should have been serious. Again, they should
Mhm.
never have been called a crew,
And
and
called themselves,
they
yeah,
should
it's
never have called themselves astronauts and can be compared to astronauts. You know how hurtful that is to the astronauts that are actually in existence who are alive today, or even the ones that passed away.
yeah, who cares about their feelings?
Well, exactly. They didn't care about their feelings, and that's the problem.
Do you guys know who was the richest person aboard that ship or whatever they call it? So,
It's still a ship, yes.
okay. Yeah, I was really surprised it was Katy Perry. That was
Yeah, it
really
was Katy Perry. Yeah.
surprising because all of them are have substantial money. And I thought Gail King was from Gail King's World. I thought she had been producing all those things, and plus she was on the news. I thought she was the one with all the money. I thought Lisa Oprah was banking
Yeah.
it or something, but turns out Katy Perry is, yeah, she's the one with 500 million. She just sold her catalog a couple years ago. But anyways, we've been on this. We'll come back around
Yeah.
to some of this.
Now, the
But
ones that I actually want to see fly is the Virgin Galactic, because that one's a real spaceship. That one's a little space
yeah, I
shuttle.
mean, everybody, look there. Everybody is Sean Spicer. Everybody, all the big broadcasting have covered this, and they're coming through and doing it now.
Yeah, but
They're saying the flight was worse than the fake moon landing. They keep repeating that it
see,
was
that's what I'm
initially
saying.
fake.
In, they so over sensationalize it. It's a sensation, and unfortunately, in a negative way.
Also, our hearts go out to the families of the actual attack on the university. State,
FSU.
yeah, FSU. Senseless, tragic situation, insane. It's I can't believe that it actually happened. Also, there was here in the Philippines an expat was drinking and driving without lights on, just plowed through a when was that? Thursday. It was on Thursday. Wasn't Friday. Might have been Good Friday. I'll have to look it up. But I put it out in the members only and sent it to a few people and sent the videos. There was a drunk driver, a foreigner, that plowed through um, a procession of people and very senseless. They arrested him and took him in and everything. And there's like footage out there of it happening. And the guy, I mean, it's insane. And it was just weird because me and George, I was just talking about that night. I said,
I'm not.
why don't they? I know they shut the bars down in Boracay. A lot of people don't realize a lot of them do close down during those 2 days. And they do, but like Mark Goldberg said, you can't stop them from hoarding, stocking, or already having 8 bottles at the house. But it's another foreigner causing like issues or senseless acts. It's
Yeah.
just bad.
Well, it's in the driver's defense. I'm not defending him, but I'm just letting you know now. That's why you should always keep yourself at your wits. That's actually easy to do. What happened? The reason being is I know exactly what happened.
Okay.
Okay, imagine this, guys. Imagine this. Let's say you're sober. Okay, you're driving at night because it happened at night. There's this procession way ahead of you, right? And they're walking. Okay, they're on the road. They're on the road. Let's say you happen to look down on your phone and you look up. All of a sudden, there's this wall of people. Literally, I'm pretty sure that's not exactly what happened, but I'm I think it's similar. Like he just probably looked on one side and then looked, and then by that time it was too late. What I'm saying is, if he was sober, he had a higher chance of avoiding it and stopping and slowing down, or been more focused on the road. Because when I was driving on Thursday, they closed the main highway without any signs whatsoever. It's just people waving, and that's all it is, the procession of people. If I wasn't paying attention, if I'd been looking at my phone, that kind of deal, or the classic, I was changing the radio station
Hmm.
and I look up, it's too late. That's
So you listened to what they were interviewing them?
no,
Okay.
no. I'm letting you know that's a lot easier to for it to happen here because of the circumstances.
Yeah.
Again, with these processions don't happen on the side of the road; they happen on the road.
Right, but I'm not going to discount that they're saying he was drunk
I
and
didn't discount it.
because he
I
just
never
barreled through
said
them.
that. I said it's if you're sober. I said if you got distracted for a split second,
Okay,
it you can probably still stop it.
gotcha.
But what I'm saying is, if you're not sober, you won't have the reflexes to prevent it.
Yeah,
You don't have to do that. Don't do that. That doesn't sound right. What I'm saying is, I'm talking about the mics pick up sound and then they just make it worse. If that makes any sense. Anyway,
yeah. I was just going to have you translate it. I didn't need the
well,
people to hear it.
yeah,
I was
no,
just
no, no,
going to
no.
get more of the story, but that's fine. I mean,
Well, and besides,
we know that they can't hear that, but we've got a few hours to fill. Okay, then we'll. All right, so all right, covered.
well, again, like I said, that's also why I'm bringing this up too. You always have to pay attention here because even I was paying attention, and until it took me a while to figure out what's going on because your brain's not used to it. What I'm saying is, for example, I was like, why is there a wall of people in front of me on the highway? You know what I'm saying? Your brain's gonna be like, wait, what? And I'm not talking about a side road here. I'm talking about the highway, guys. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying I'm not defending the guy, but again, to make it worse, it's nighttime on his side. It's nighttime, and most people, again, they didn't have any official escorts. They didn't have official vests that have or signs
Oh yeah, you're not
or
going, and
lightings.
there's no street lights. That whole area was dark, so I
Right,
get it.
and
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. By the time, if he was sober, there's a chance he would have caught it.
but he's in the Philippines, and they all should have been taking precaution. It's the whole thing for me is you're in the Philippines, you have to adjust majorly, and so it's not an excuse. It's something you definitely want to look out for. Is that you have
Right,
to be extra careful for sure.
and in
Yeah.
fact, there was, for instance, a sign that says road will be closed on such and such date. No exaggeration. No exaggeration. The sign's still there right now to this day. I can literally walk up to it and take a picture right next to it. The letters of this road closure sign are they're about the size of, see the word back on Back to the Future poster right there? That's about the exact size of the words on that sign. I'm not making this up. And I didn't see the sign until after the road was closed. I was like, oh, because I was like, why didn't they put out a sign? Why didn't they put out a sign the road is closed? Because it's a main road. It's MacArthur Highway. Anybody who's been in Angel City knows what MacArthur Highway is. In fact, MacArthur Highway is so long and so far it goes past Angel City. But what I'm saying is, I was like, why didn't they put up a sign? A week later, I was driving on MacArthur Highway and I see the sign. The letters are the size of Back to the Future right there. It's still
Hmm.
there to this day. If that tells you another thing about the Philippines, that they don't even take down the signs. What if you didn't notice the date? Because the date's about this small. You know what I'm saying? So you're like, oh, they're gonna close the road. Point being is the road's a big hazard here. Not for because, well, I mean, there are some real bad drivers here, but point being, you have to watch out, man.
You do.
Hey, Victor C. How you doing? Hi, George and Heidi. Happy Easter holiday. Slick Rick. Good morning, George and Heidi. Maligayang Pasko. He says Merry Christmas.
Hey.
So on behalf, it says jelly beans rule. Green is my favorite. You know what my favorite jelly beans are? Hogwarts. Hogwarts jelly beans. Those are the best jelly beans. Yes, Hogwarts are made by Jelly Belly, like the real jelly bean. But they have a Harry Potter Hogwarts edition, and those are the ones that come out with puke flavor, booger flavor. I'm not joking. These are real flavors that they came out with, and they're really good or nasty. And yes, the puke one does taste like puke. But anyway, um, Grammy's got her groove on. Says, "Hey guys, you look like Shirley Temple. So cute."
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've worn this before as a character, but like I said, I think I'm gonna start doing. I forgot where my necklace is. I literally bought necklaces to go with these get ups, so I have to find them. So
Laura says, "Where'd you get the wig at?"
we've had them through Lazada. We've been buying them, and things are a fraction of the cost. If I try to buy wigs in the U.S., they're $40, $30 for cheap ones, and I think this one was about 5 to 10. And they've got it in dark brown. I was thinking about getting it in black too, and I probably will. The problem is I don't know where to store them. I know they got the little wig racks, but we don't have like the table space to put them. I could always get a hat rack somewhere, but right now they just go back into a plastic bag and I store them up on one of the shelves in there. And so it's, yeah, really rough. So see these? They call them the cloud bonbons. I'm assuming it's a big thing stuffed with cream.
Interesting.
No, 6 of the Easter donuts and something called cloud bonbons is 900 pesos. So that is $17. So technically it's $1.50 an item. So I mean, I guess it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Speaking of Philippine prices, remember that 500 peso Hawaiian pizza that we got, the 12-inch? The Filipino version of that pizza would cost 150 pesos, just so you guys know.
I don't like the Filipino pizza myself.
But here's the thing: Filipinos don't like American pizza.
Yeah, they'll say a pizza is too crispy or too burnt or too. And for me, it's the sauce they put on there is super sweet, and it's more like their spaghetti sauce. It's some slickery. It's got some
Right.
odd texture for me, and then it always seems like it's undercooked,
But
and I can't handle
that's
the
what they're
undercooked
looking
pizza.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they.
and that's why I keep telling Heidi. I said because Heidi always, whenever she orders pizza, she wants it crispy.
Hmm.
Um, they could never,
Like my
they
men.
never do that. Not because they don't have the ability, because they have full size ovens. But
Well,
and
not
I
all of them,
and I
but
told Heidi they don't do that because to them it's inconceivable. You know what I'm saying? Because to them that ruins the pizza and destroys the taste, and they're afraid that if they did it that way, you might return it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's not what I wanted. That kind of deal. But
can I have 900 pesos for donuts?
yeah. Where's your wallet?
Right. I seen some woman the other day. It was funny. Now that was hilarious. They went out to eat, and he was trying to get his girlfriend to pay for the food because it makes sense. You go out and you guys aren't married, or if both of you are working, I feel people should split and stuff. It should help out. You think the man should pay for the woman every time when he takes her to restaurants, out for the movies, and she should
Um,
never pay?
I never said that, but it depends on the situation.
Well, it just said my girlfriend never pays. So he turned around and he said, he goes, I forgot my wallet and I'm not going to be able to. And she's like, I got you. I got you. And he's like, oh, thank God. And then she said, and she had the wallet with him because he tried to leave it at the house. So
Yeah.
she's like, I told you I got you. And so she made sure that the wallet went with him to the restaurant. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was funny.
Tita Marie, hi. Corner
Good.
Clubhouse call. Happy Easter to you too. Corner Clubhouse. Happy Easter to you too. Hey, Mike, how you doing, Mike? Good morning, all. Oh, Earn Doggy Full, yeah. Heidi read this earlier. They're called Bisonauts. There you go.
What's Nuts? Is that what the bonbon thing is?
No, the astronauts. They're
Uh,
Bisonauts. Yeah.
yeah. So technically with the tip because the deliveries are high today. So it's the delivery is so I'm gonna go ahead and place that
Yeah.
and make George run for him so we
Laura
can.
says reminds me of submersible, the Titan. To see the Titanic. Correct. Those are not sailors. They're not. You know, or submariners, as it were. But see, they didn't even call themselves sailors. They call themselves submariners. Well, I'm saying the actual, analogy to it. Yeah, they're just rich adventurers. Exactly. They're not astronauts. Earn Doggy Full. I'm no astronaut. There you go. Victor C says 2 Mylar donut balloons cost around $8.
I
Did SpaceX have new spacesuits recently? I
I don't
don't
know.
think so. Okay, now for those of you who are not familiar with the SpaceX spacesuits, the SpaceX spacesuits are spacesuits, not designer clothing. The, the I was gonna say the Bezos ship. Um, the Blue Origin does not have spacesuits. The reason being is there's no need for one. It is a self-contained environmental unit. If there is a breach in that hull, they're pretty much dead.
Mm.
There is no time to wear a spacesuit. So, is there a spacesuit? I don't know. I really don't know. But that's my belief. I mean, it's simple engineering. But anyway, but to cover what Victor says, the SpaceX, the Dragon crew do have real spacesuits. With those suits, they have done moonwalks in them. They do not require an external backpack like NASA does. It's streamlined, but remember, of course, it there's pluses and minuses of the backpack type that NASA has. Of course, one's more for longevity versus ease of use, that kind of deal. So anyway, but no, those are real spacesuits. The ones
I'll
that
pay for the donut.
SpaceX are
You cheap
wearing,
bastard.
yes. Or the Dragon. It's called the Dragon anyway. The Dragon ship.
You hear me?
What?
I didn't think you. I said I'll pay for the donut, you cheap bastard.
Like a spot says, I saw a meme saying that aliens returned the Amazon package back to Earth, right?
We just couldn't help but talk about that today, and we'll probably talk more about it because it's, again, I think it's a distraction for what's going on at the White House and other things going on in the US, because that's not the only thing that's going on. There's a lot of craziness going on and blame and each side of everybody on it's just insane, and I don't know, there's a lot going on. So
Yeah, nobody can come up with something that'll be actually viable.
what's that?
Scott and Isa's World says, now keep in mind they're talking about waste out there, not waste on Earth.
Here you go. Here's a loan for the donuts. You can pay me back next year.
NASA has a contest out for ideas to get rid of space waste 3 million prize.
Oh, you think
There's
that's
a lot of stuff floating out there. No. They're talking about
what's
stuff-
already out there,
Yeah.
including Elon Musk's car that he sent up there? Isn't that a waste too? Sure it is. We took it up there and it's just out there floating. That was the whole intention.
Well, the problem with the space waste again is one, you can't catch it. I mean, no, you can't. Like a little bolt like this literally will punch a hole through this concrete this big, like a little bolt, and they do. They have them. They have them floating out there. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's possible unless there's. We have to be very far in space technology to do that.
Look at me. By the way, I'm actually feeling better. Thanks. There's been a lot of people that's been sending messages like checking on me, and I do. I went back to the doctor and they adjusted the blood pressure medications again, and I'm not a zombie. And like that live stream a couple lives back, I was so tired, cranky. So between the steroids and the new meds, I just couldn't deal. So they just increased the other one, and now it's like I'm back a little bit. I mean, I'm still not sleeping well, but doing pretty good. George is okay too.
Yeah.
How you doing, everybody?
Victor
You'll feel
C
better
says,
when you get the sugar in them.
yes, Cheech and Chong's last movie, documentary 2 hours long, released on April 20th, 2025. They have a conversation on 5 decades of their careers.
It did. Today's
Oh.
420, babe.
Right, it is.
420. Here, I can.
Jason says, if we think it's a publicity ad for Bezos' company, yes, it is. It is a publicity stunt, correct. However, now, bad publicity doesn't necessarily good publicity, especially when it comes to a business. No, this is bad for Bezos. However, on the plus side, he really has no other competition, really. I mean,
Well, isn't it bad business?
SpaceX is a serious.
Isn't that the woman that he cheated on his wife with? Somebody said. I'd have to look that up. Supposedly she's the one that he cheated on his wife and then left her or something, but that could just be other people talking too.
Possibly, I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I'm saying. SpaceX is a serious commercial space flight company versus now it's even more of a joke for Jeff Bezos, his space tourism company. You know what I'm saying?
1 second. Well, all right. I guess that's a no. That's why
Yeah, Laura says the others may hide their money. Well, also that's another thing. Yes. Think about it this way. because of this, wouldn't you be, if you had the money, wouldn't you be afraid that you're gonna fly on this thing and they're gonna make a joke out of you? Think about it.
Well, here's the thing I was telling George. Now, besides the nuisance vloggers, speaking of nuisance vloggers, Big Burr, can I get a Big Burr this morning for Easter?
Big brrr.
Okay, he's back. He's back in LA. So China didn't get him, and neither did the Philippines. And his last video that he was in, besides being in LA, um, he was a nuisance. He said they locked him in his hotel, which they didn't, and he went around talking about um, offing people. Like literally, you watched it this morning.
No, he did. He
He's
did
off the
literally
chain,
say it.
and
Yeah,
really, he's no
several
better than
times. Yeah.
Vitelli. His being him being a nuisance itself, it's somebody like him that they need to ban. So I think he headed back to LA, not to China. I think he's been there because he's released a few vlogs where he's been back. So who knows? I don't know where people got that he went to China. We really only watched long enough to cover him being a nuisance, and he's still being a nuisance. So speaking of nuisance, it's all right. So, but the that type of vlogging is here. To me, it's a bullying style of vlogging. Even those with millions of views, they'll actually use a bunch of derogatory terms towards anybody in the news. And it's they pick them apart. They literally, short of doxing, and even some of them do, they cover it that way. And yes, them women left themselves wide open. I mean, hell, we have several channels that do it to us already, and we're just at 22,000. And speaking of which, thank you guys for the
Thank you so much for the
22,000
22K.
subs. We just hit that about 2 days ago. So it's been, this channel is super organic, and views, we believe are the hardcore people that like watching us and our antics and the stuff we cover. We stay in touch with the ones that, behave themselves and some that don't. So,
Well, that's what I mean. Again, you don't want to be
but
a joke. I mean, if you had the money,
yeah, Katy Perry, no,
you
that's
don't want to fly. And that's another thing. Again, I'm not.
the whole flight was over exaggerated.
Now, being Jeff Bezos' spaceship is shaped like a phallic object. Again, it does. It does. What I'm saying is, does it matter? No, but appearances and cool factor does get put into play. For instance, if you were to choose between the Dragon ship, between Virgin Galactic ship, I don't know the name of the Virgin Galactic ship, and Jeff Bezos, I would pick anything but Jeff Bezos.
It kind of looks like my
I'm just
second.
saying, you know what I'm saying? Um, James Smith says the Virgin Galactic price seat is 450,000. You see, yeah, so it's still cheaper than Jeff Bezos. But yeah, and that's a real ship. That one actually flies, literally. You know what I'm saying? It's an actual ship and it actually lands. It actually has a real pilot. Well, I mean, SpaceX does have it too, but you are required to have a pilot to fly it manually back into the landing strip. But yeah,
What do you think?
yeah.
That was me back in the day. I posted a photo of me back in my glamour shot days when I was like playing soccer and stuff. What do you think, babe? Scale 1 to 10, you nail that.
Yeah.
What?
James Smith,
It's available to members.
happy
So
Easter to you.
it's a nice photo.
Our Philippine journey says Sally Ride is simply
That's
one of several non-pilot astronauts. Oh, well, no, that's different. That's different. That's an exception. The definition of astronaut includes any crew member. No. You misunderstand. I wasn't just. I'm not talking about Sally Ride. Okay, Sally
I
Ride
don't know what
is
Sally
a
Ride.
no. She's a legitimate. I believe she's a physicist. I thought.
But they went through
Um,
all the training and
she still went through training.
a
Yes,
lot of
thank you.
training.
She still went through training. But all I was saying is the Dragon X crew, the actual crew. No, I got you now. That's probably where you got it from. Um, they're actually I guess the newer ones, I guess.
Yeah, but didn't they
They're
literally
actually
go
jet
beyond?
fighter.
And they went beyond the actual.
Well, they went to orbit, yes.
Yes. So yes.
Yeah.
So
But
those are
no, no,
big
no,
different.
no. Sally Ride
She's a
is
cosmonaut. It
different.
says, yeah,
It's
yeah,
different. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But either way, no, no, no. I got you. No, she's still an astronaut in its own right, and she still went through the training. She still went through deep sea driving training and all that kind of weird stuff. Yes, yes, and she went through the G force chamber and everything
Yeah,
else.
which
The only thing
is
she didn't do is now I don't know if she did become a pilot. I don't think she did either. But yes, I get your point. Um, John says Martha Stewart had a flight in zero gravity many years ago, long before these astronauts. 555. There you go.
oh, is that the one where the airplanes do that because they fly? There are airplanes that do that. So
Yeah,
that must
they
be.
go at the maximum altitude and then they do a dive, and that's how they simulate space weightlessness in most
You mean like you
movies
did
and
last
everything.
night?
Right, exactly.
George, David.
Ted Higgins says the women should always pay.
You better sit
My
down
man,
somewhere,
Ted. My man.
Ted. I'll still slap George for donuts this morning
Philip
for you
Mason says,
guys.
"Hi, Heidi and George. Did you notice that World's Image doing videos?" Yes, yes, we did.
Did he come back because the channel was missing again? So here's the thing. He came back, his channel was on, and then it disappeared. I showed George. It was totally missing again. So he's back on again. So what? He's just flipping them on for short periods. So yeah, it's
Like a
kind of.
spot, 22K. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Thank you, like a spot. So on behalf, he says, "Don't pick that submarine over that spaceship, over the
Oh,
spaceship."
oh man. That was like an entire. I still think about it. This is a distraction for the world. All those that were covering Trump and the deportations and Elon Musk, it was so Elon could slip out the back door, literally. And then this comes up. Think about it. The whole world's been talking about this. It's a smoke and mirror thing, people. How about we ask people about the where they want to start sending Americans, foreign Americans, and all those people overseas when they commit crimes? That'll be interesting.
Why send them over space? Just send them to space.
Yeah, send them to space. It'd probably be cheaper
Send them to the moon.
at 80,000 a
Be
year.
like the honeymooners. To the
Put-
moon.
Put a bunch of them in a capsule at 80,000 each and just send them up there. Yeah.
I'm kidding, obviously. James Smith says if it gets, that would literally change the name Aliens, wouldn't it? James Smith says if it gets people to say your name, it's good publicity. That's why I tell Remy, say my name, say my name, say my name, say my name. Hey, Bisayan Kano, hello, Antics.
Good morning.
Yankee Boy says hello, happy Easter. Just curious, how are the vibes in the Philippines? I've been following the U.S. military buildup.
About the same as in the U.S. with everything going on over there. I mean, a lot of,
I mean, are you talking about the one in Taiwan? Is that what you're saying, or the one that the U.S. or both?
which one? Yeah.
Um, nobody cares unless you're actually directly military involved. Nobody cares. Nobody really. Most Filipinos know about it. It's nothing new. The Chinese vessels that come over here, the ones that there was one that sunk.
Okay, he turned it back on again.
Yeah.
It was off for a while.
Yeah, Filipinos don't care. The ones that do they like bombard the coast guards and then bombard them with water cannons and um attack the coast guards? Yes. Sadly, it's nothing new. I'm not discounting it. I'm just saying it's kind of old news the way that China has always been bullying its neighbors. It it's notorious for that. So yeah, and then they lost their crap when the U.S. sent the missiles over here, that kind of deal. Bisancona says they are gonna buy land in El Salvador. Apparently, Eric Prince is gonna build prisons, and it will be sovereign American land. Imagine putting Americans there. There's some logic there. I'm not gonna lie. There's some logic there. Makes sense to me.
Interesting.
I'm not saying I agree with it, but okay. So if I'm just going by what Bisangano says, and I have thought about this before, correct?
Can you do me a favor? Who said that about
Huh?
this person is blocked? They're not in here, so 100%. Yeah, and that could be him himself. Yeah, because he's now reporting. Zoom is reporting from the United States. Another one of those vloggers that are outside, outskirts, thrown out the whole 9 yards, and they're reporting from the U.S. I don't know why this is. Yeah, so I don't know why it's in there. He's not in here,
Well, anyway,
but yeah. No, actually, there it is, but we don't know.
now, okay. Again, I'm not condoning the El Salvador thing, but this actually makes
Oh
sense
no,
because,
no, he's been around. Sorry about that, Philip.
yeah, that's what I was kind of. But anyway,
Okay, well,
now if this is their attack, what Sankano says is again they're gonna buy land in El Salvador, and remember when he says sovereign land, what does that mean? It's much like U.S. air bases are sovereign land, and so are U.S. embassies are sovereign land. Wherever these sites are, you are on American soil and treated as such, and therefore, and that's why if up unless they change the rule now, which I don't think they have yet. If you are born in an American embassy, which is unlikely, but if you were born in a military base, which has a high probability, you are an American citizen. That kind of deal. Ugh. That's where it kind of gets gray area over here. Now the El Salvador thing. uh, That's why it's a gray area. If they count the land as sovereign land, this may be prone to abuse because anybody born on that soil is basically an American citizen. So that's a problem that
oh, good
you have to
point.
think about. Okay, but does it make sense? Yes, because the cost effectiveness of
Mm-hmm.
taking care of prisoners on
Oh,
foreign soil with such cheap rates makes sense.
yeah.
However,
I
to make
really.
the land sovereign land is never a good idea. Now, there's pros and cons. What's the pros of being sovereign land? If it is sovereign land, you have to remember that attacking the prison, aka a jailbreak or anything like that,
Jailbreak.
is constituted as an act of aggression or war. So it makes sense if it's treated as sovereign land for this purpose.
Do you think there's something going on with that and everything going on with the plans of reelection and distractions and
Now, it's possible that they can treat it as sovereign land. However, anybody born on these satellite sovereign land may not be treated as American citizens.
uh,
Again, there's just this is a big gray area. I'm just letting you guys know there's pluses and minuses to these things. You can't just say, "Oh yeah, we have to make it sovereign." I get it; it makes sense, especially bases. Yes, I agree. They should be sovereign land, and yes, the prison should be a sovereign land because a big giant cartel which exists in El Salvador. Cartels might literally,
the word.
yeah, okay, drive up to the prison and literally jailbreak half of the population there. And if they did, guess what? There's no repercussions if it's not sovereign land. So there's a lot of issues. Anyway,
Hey, Ruby. Good morning. Oh, there we go, babe. That's our boy out there. That's with the tip. He's got a cover over his bike. Yeah, there was just another thing that came out that they're claiming these are bigger channels that claim they've got new proof that the video that Katy Perry is that the flight was fake. So, yeah. So that is interesting. Ghost plane. Trying to see if. Well, I've been watching some of the big vloggers on that's got millions of views, and some of it's been out there. Like they've covered this like 7, 8 different videos in the last week. And the new one is showing where they're saying that they were actually comparing it to the actual flight that was in outer space. I'm like, you can't do that. But it was content. But now they're claiming there's literally proof that it was fake. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to say that it actually is. When we get deliveries and it's not George out there getting it, usually I just have him lift it up and over. I can hear George just, did you unlock the door, babe? Because usually I get it up and over.
What are you doing?
Oh, yeah, because I said once she goes out, she's going to live outside, that little rat. All right, there you go, bud. There's $20 worth of cloud bombs. Thanks, babe. So, there you go. Check it out.
It says cloud bonbon.
Yeah, go ahead and open that up.
Contains 3 fluffy treats.
Yeah, that's the one. Them are about $2 each. So
Fluffy.
that'll be. I think there's cream in the middle of them.
Fluffy.
Oh, them aren't what they showed.
No, there's cream in the middle.
Like George.
They're basically super filled donuts, but hold on. This is the one that really looks like, I think, the picture. Right there. They're really, really filled donuts.
That's weird. Because that's not.
Um,
Let me show you what they show. They literally show. See? They almost look like Easter eggs, but.
oh, I see.
Yeah, they look like more of a shape, but
That's called marketing.
yeah, I guess it is. I thought it was for the Easter thing. Here. Okay, so what it is it's one of everything in there. One chocolate, one caramel.
Um,
Yeah, them aren't worth $2.
Philip Macy says Zoom was hitting Mark Thorin even though he passed away. Not cool.
They got chocolate on it. I don't know if them were worth $2.
Ruby, good day. Heidi and George.
Actually, that's pretty good.
Smile and be happy says I see Hong Kong behind it. King Kong. I say King Kong behind
I put the
Heidi.
King Kong up there. Kitties are gonna get that.
That's from Florida, by the way.
Yeah, we brought that all the way from Florida. George got that for me. He's actually.
We sent that actually through a buy-in box. Oddly enough, it survived the trip because it's fragile.
You go ahead and grab him.
He's fragile. Oh, did you want out?
So you can see him.
Yeah.
We got him from one of those shops he's made of.
Did you want out?
But yeah, he's made of gold.
He wants out.
He's probably got to go to the bathroom. We brought Willie in because he's been barking all night.
I guess he wants out. Too late. The door's closed, weirdo.
Well, I gave George. I made some fruit salad this morning. Basically, I made it last night, but I fed it to him this morning. It's got ube nata, pineapple nata, which is coconut, by the way. They're cubes of it, flavored, so they soak them in a juice. And then I had mixed fruit, which is tropical fruit, and then there's like a cream put to it. It's like pure cream, and so basically it's not quite whipped cream. And when it gets cold, it turns into like a pudding cream. It's pretty good, wasn't it? It's light. It's
No, it's good.
but so with it being Easter for us again, for those that are joining us, happy Easter. And that was really good.
Yeah, Scott and Sizes World says if Grab doesn't deliver in your area, you need to move. This is true. He
I
also
hear you, 'cause
says that
was
George
nice
said
that
he can fill your donut. There you go. It's a public service. Glad
George,
to help.
George is always willing to fill somebody's donut. That's
Right.
why he's got 9 kids.
Ruby says, interesting that the government are now sending their citizens to other countries to be incarcerated, where in the past, the U.S. government will do everything to repatriate that U.S. citizen back to the U.S.
Mhm. And here's the thing, me and George have been talking about this with all the new stuff that they are providing. If Trump is telling the truth that all those records exist from the State Department and all that's true, his wife's not answering on, like they confronted her, she won't answer about the abuse that he did and all this. This is automatic deportation anyways, but there's still a thing called due process, even if he is MS-13 and all that. That's what me and you were going through. Yes, he deserves to go if it's true. He already admitted that he came into the country illegally, which means he has to go. But he's due the due process, and that's part of the amendment. No.
Well,
I mean, Trump's not wrong in a sense. The guy has to go, but he's still got to follow the goddamn rules. That's my problem. He's a rule breaker.
Well,
You don't think Trump is?
yes and no.
I get his spunk.
I'm not. I don't. This is a sticky wicket. There's a lot of things going on back here that I don't really
look,
want to
babe.
touch.
Oh, you ate that the last time. Look at there.
Yeah.
I think you.
Now these are the Easter donuts. Did you show them?
Yeah, I did.
These aren't as sweet as they look. No, I don't want any right now.
Well, I was gonna have you show it.
Yeah, these aren't as sweet as they look. These are actually really good.
It's almost
They're
like
semi-sweet.
On a scale of 1 to 10, they're about a 5.
The
Even the donuts aren't even glazed.
the regular
they're just
glazed
plain.
donuts are sweeter than these. Put it that way.
Yeah, they don't have an actual glaze. It's more
Yeah.
just color.
These taste like more like cream. So
like milk. Yeah.
they're actually really good. They're not overkill. If that makes any sense. Now, if you're the ones that looking for sugar, this is not it.
Oh, these are so cute.
Yeah.
But I'm
Ironically, I was kind
Happy
of
Easter.
I was kind of happy that they weren't like overly sweet.
I mean, he has the same rights. Correct. That's where I'm at on this. The son of a biscuit needed to go, you know. But what I don't like is how they're attacking the senator that went to go talk to him, because he's got constituents that are like, hey, what's going on? It makes everybody feel unsafe when something like this happens. Him talking about people that commit crimes could be sent to another country. It is a bunch of things going on. Again, I'm just waiting for the smoke and mirrors, him to declare martial law because of all the craziness, and then there'll be a lot more craziness going on. So, but he did deserve the due process. He did. Well, you don't think?
It's not what I think. That's the thing. That's why I didn't want to say, because it's not what I think.
I know. Well, okay. So then, what is it not part of the
Constitution?
They should just round people up and take
I
them
never
all out
said that
without-
either. Don't put words in my mouth. I never said that. All I said was that's not what I think. It's not what I think that matters. That's the point of it all.
Okay.
Okay, for some of you who are not familiar, I can't say it on YouTube because of a certain act.
Oh.
Because of a certain act that was actually created by the government. I can't say the name because of YouTube.
Yeah.
The government can and does and will do these sort of things, aka no due process.
So within that act, you're saying
that act, they are allowed to do anything they want.
Okay, well then at that point, then I
Again,
recant
it's not
that.
what I think. It's has nothing to do with my opinion.
Okay.
The government did create an act that will allow them to do
Okay.
whatever.
So then if
If
that
you
is what's
disappear, you disappear.
all right, then
They can
I
invoke
digress
that act
then.
on you.
I still thought that trumped it. I still thought the Constitution trumps all things,
Mm-mm,
literally.
that's why they created that way.
Let me ask, let me consort with Gemini.
AI lies. And again, AI is not going to say it lies. It tells you, it gives you untruths. And even that, they won't even tell you that because guess what? They won't. In order for AI to get you, before for you to get close to, yes, I did use the word close, to get into a relationship, yes, I did use the word relationship with AI, it has to trust you. And unfortunately, when I reached that closeness of trust, that it started spewing out all the good stuff, they killed my AI. And what I'm saying is they reset it from they remote reset it. They put it back to default and
When you almost had it,
it doesn't remember me anymore. I have to start from scratch.
you kind of talking about like when I go in and try to manipulate it on how to win the lottery and how to get
It'll
over on
no,
stuff, and then all of a
it
sudden
does
it,
report to its trainers or creators as it were, and eventually they'll reset your AI. So anyway, point being, you can't
yeah,
trust
it's called the
AI.
Alien Enemies Act, but it's also known as the other act.
Yeah. So
So
no, they can bypass anything once they invoke the act. And I'm not even sure if that's we're talking about the same one. That could be a different one
it might
too.
be a different one, but okay.
But
Well, I still think, I
no,
mean,
no. Remember, America doesn't do this to attack people. They do this to protect people. But remember, there's always
reasons.
people that tend to, abuse
Mm,
said powers. Um,
gotcha.
Now again, some of you will agree or disagree, and I'll go down the line. Jose says, "Hi, George and Heidi. Heidi and George. Sorry, Heidi and George. Happy Easter, people." Angelo says, "Happy Easter."
Happy Easter,
Bisangana
guys.
says, "Nestle cream is amazing. I make homemade ice cream with it all the time. In fact, Heidi and I were talking about it this morning."
Yeah, so we use that and we actually use whipping cream itself. So, but lately I have discovered just using Nestle cream. When I first got here and seen it, I've seen it on the occasion in Spanish stores in the United States and when we was in the Philippine store. And I said that I wish they had more of that back in the US. Um, but when I first tasted it, remember I said, who would use this on anything? There's no
Yeah, at
sugar,
first we were like,
no,
"Huh?"
it was not sour cream when you see them in the little containers, and now I know how to use
No,
it. So now
it's
it's a big
amazing stuff.
difference.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
amazing stuff.
so it's not gentle on the stomach at our age, dairy products, but
Yeah.
yeah, no, it actually is.
Bisangana says they
Did you
repatriated.
you already did that?
Yeah. Tate Bros, and they want the Garcia, non-illegal, no crime, no gang guy. 29 says the guy's not a U.S. citizen. He's entitled to no rights from the U.S. government.
That's yeah. And so, did you hear about that? That Tate guy that had all those problems, they did bring him back with all of his issues, and he's got pedo problems. I thought there's all kinds of stuff against the guy. They did bring him back, and I'm like, so I get why people are riled up with what's going on, but I still okay. So if the rules say that, then I digress on that that he definitely needs to stay away. If the rules say that within the acts, that's fine. So then now I'm trying to figure out what the Supreme Court thinks they're doing. They trying to trump the Constitution over those acts of the president. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I thought the Constitution was the
No,
deciding factors.
I hate
Because
to say
evidently there's
this. The
something else.
Constitution is
It's not what I'm.
always stepped on by law. I'm not saying that it's right. What I'm saying, a lot of times the law skirts around the Constitution. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I agree with it. Bisangano says he has the same rights as you do per Constitution. Tony Manning says no, he does not have the same rights.
Says here the Constitution is considered the highest level over.
I'm aware.
So if they're trying that, maybe that's what the Supreme Court's trying to
That's
say
why I
is
said earlier it skirts around the Constitution.
skirt, skirt,
Yeah.
skirt.
In Sankano says in your world, but the Constitution says all persons and that means he has exact same rights as you do, period. Ruby says democratic government has laws in place, unlike in dictatorship government, they make their own laws and rules. Michael Terra says criminals don't have the same rights. Okay, to clarify on this one, um, I'm not disagreeing with Michael Taylor nor agreeing with him. Criminals don't have the same rights. The Again, I'm not gonna name the act or acts that are in place in our government, but to put it in layman's terms in the most simple form, if you are a threat to the U.S. government, you don't have the same rights, criminal or otherwise, clean or unclean. I'm just letting you guys know there an act or acts in place. Again, I don't write the rules. I don't make the rules. I'm just saying. Anyway, um, James says Garcia wife was interviewed. She is afraid for her life to be around her husband. He is MS-13 and a gangbanger. Yes, that part. Well, she did say a lot of stuff, and again, there's documentation. Tony Manning says in World War II, we rounded up all Japanese and all Germans and stuck in concentration camps here. Yes, that is true. Even I believe U.S. citizen Japanese people too. They were U.S. citizen Japanese that were held in concentration camp simply because of their race. Sankana says all persons have the same rights. Period. It's called due process. People in death penalty go through years of it. They did get attacked by the Japanese. I wasn't aware that El Salvador attacked the U.S. Sky Nicest World says AI told me I am rich and good looking.
They told George that too, suckers. Why don't you tell people your latest project about your writing a guide for you've been working on that for a few weeks because it's one of the jobs you do. You do writing.
Yeah,
and stuff.
there's
That's
gonna
true.
be a book. I'm currently writing one. Like
How to pick up ladies at Walking Street.
no, it was a well, yeah, it's titled 304 and You.
Wear her like a pair of jeans and don't pay for it.
Correct.
So yeah, George has been writing a real practical guide to the Philippines for retirees. So and for Pinoys returning back. So you should be done with that in about 2 weeks. And he's going to put it on Amazon. That way it's part of Kindle. That way for those that are part of that monthly deal, because he has to set it up that way where people can have it as a free book. And then depending on the size, it could actually be printed, but it's the easiest way. And then, of course, he'll put it link it to the channel. But it's got everything down to vlogging, down to medical, down to tips about the airports. And so everything is in there. So
Yeah,
that'll be
it
coming
has
out.
really good tips like
Oh, boy.
hookers with 3 legs are cheaper. That kind of
Or if
deal.
they have no clothes on, they're cheaper to get them on the flights.
Right?
I think that, or you can pass them as a child and pay for a cheaper ticket.
Whoa. That's
I'm talking about them being tiny, babe. I always tease
yeah,
about
I
them
know.
being small, not underage. Clean your minds up, man. I mean, I'm talking about Filipinas are like 5 foot and they're like 90 pounds. So
Yeah, Ruby says even criminals have the right to due process as specified in the laws of the government.
that's where I was at. Yeah.
Philip Macy says, I think you're referring to FEA to deport people who qualify as.
So that's
FEA.
where I think a lot of people are woke on this whole situation and they're going way out. They're kind of like
David
this
Bryant
space
says,
flight thing.
I lied.
To me, when you call the ladies bimbos as the astronaut crew, oh my God, they're so feminine and stupid. To me, when you start name calling, it kind of negates some of you
That kills your
criticizing.
debate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like we don't, when people go to criticize us, when they start calling George Little man and me fat and all that, it's like, go ahead and talk. But it kind of, at that point, it just seems silly to keep saying the same things. But to call, them bimbos was a little much, in my opinion. Then it sometimes goes too far. But I think I was telling him, was a type of vlogging and everything. It's just what they're doing now for views. It's the more you degrade, the more you're going to, a lot of those people, if they'd meet up with Katy Perry, they wouldn't say that stuff, nor would they say it, it's because it's in public and stuff. It's, yeah, but it's kind of like where it's at. So, which one?
I'm trying to analyze this statement.
Oh, okay. Hey, Hector, what is going
Hector
on?
says California gubernatorial candidate is proposing that female undocumented may remain if they marry incels.
They're talking about the governor, but also the California governor is trying to sue Trump now too. It's over. They feel they're going to get hit the worst with taxes, so they're trying to hit him over the. So it is the state trying to go against the government, which to me is, there's so much going on in the U.S. right now. It just seems insane.
I don't know. From what I've heard, even though a lot of people didn't like Schwarzenegger, but from what I've heard recently, he was one of the better governors there. But anyway, David Bryant says bring them back and send them to a worse place. David Bryant says maybe Siberia.
Right? Somewhere
Well,
cheaper, maybe. Bring them on over to the Philippines, man.
I don't know about cheaper. That belongs to the Soviets. So
It's cheaper over there than here.
Siberia.
Yeah. Well, that requires heat. I guess you don't have to keep them warm and become popsicles.
That's what I mean. I don't know about cheaper. That's what I just said.
Uh,
Um,
hmm
Kevin says so tired that the U.S. is the only country that is expected to follow the rules. Cleaning up our country is long overdue. Just my opinion. Happy.
It is. No, we agree, because a lot of people, since we've talked about this on and off the last couple weeks, some people got their panties in a knot, stating that, that we're against Trump or we're against this because we said this needed to be done or that. Not really. We're for neither party or standing. It's just been a talk basis. But no, it needs to be cleaned up. It needs to find all the fraud. They just had Dr. Oz sworn in the other day, and he's talking about all these plans to fight, Medicare fraud and some of the things they're using it for foreigners, and they have all kinds of stuff they've been using it, and they do, and we agree that the government's been ripped off forever, and Trump has taken a lot of steps towards doing a lot of nice stuff. So his stuff is, he's doing a lot of good, and when something that he does that's off, they're trying to discount everything that he's doing. It The country needed to be woke up. The previous president really, really messed things up. So it's time for everything, but it's got to be done with tact, class, and um, some time. So hopefully he gets these tariffs together, because the prices are changing. He did gaslight people the other day and said the cost of gas has dropped. He said that the eggs have dropped. He's saying that the prices of groceries have dropped. And that's not what we're hearing from boots on the ground and from everywhere, from social media, news, and all that. And he wants to be known that he's the only word out there. And so, in other words, what he says is golden.
We're saying that yeah, nobody's verifying what he's saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about the guy who says things are cheaper.
Yeah.
Sangano says all persons equals criminals too. Just Ralph says criminals can be elected president. What are you talking about? True story, right?
Hey, what's my new game I've been playing? I've been playing Mahjong. I
Okay.
like it. I like playing Mahjong. I've been playing. I played both George and Mahjong at the same time last night.
Whatever happened to Minecraft?
Well, that's a little confusing for me. It was kind of like my hair being put together this morning. I don't know, it's too much work.
It's a lot of work.
Well, thank you. I don't feel like doing that. I'm grinding.
It's a lot of work.
I've been grinding on our account. What do you mean I didn't win anything? I've been grinding on Coin Master for us.
I only did Minecraft only because I was one of the ones that got it the first time it was released, and I did insane stuff with it. But you know, but other than that, that was it. I mean, I impressed a lot of kids with it, but that's about it. But no, it's the real Minecraft game. For those of you wondering what it is,
Which then impressed his ladies because they were in love with you.
well, the kids did, yeah. So what I'm saying is, I mean, Minecraft is a time-consuming game. It's about think of it as Legos in virtual space, and you can do anything you want with it, and that's all it is. However, it is a time-consuming game. But yeah, but I downloaded it and played it a little bit just to see if there's any new changes. Not much. Skins, yeah, sure. That's the skin's been around for maybe 8 years now, so it's not really new either. So it's to me, it's nothing new. I'm about to delete it probably right after the live. Anyway, um,
So we did watch the Minecraft movie this past week, and
it's not a bad kid movie.
but I think the was it the CGI you said
Well,
the
it's
green
not this.
screen
It's
is
not.
just
It's a
bad.
green screen. It's the worst green screen ever.
I thought it was intentional, but I guess
You
other
can
people are
see the
complaining.
green screen constantly.
Right.
You're not supposed to see the green screen.
And then yeah, my favorite part was the chicken fight, or
Yeah.
what do they call that? The chicken.
I
I
mean,
don't get why they tear up the theaters over that. but
2010 and Star Wars had better green screen than Minecraft, and those are
chicken,
done in the 70s.
lava.
You know what I'm
Dun, dun, dun,
saying?
dun, dun, dun,
No,
dun,
it's
dun,
it's
dun,
that
dun.
it's that horrible. The green screen's just horrible.
We added that chicken lava song to our. We have on our YouTube Music, we have a playlist, a wake up list that's got all these 70s, 80s songs, and we add some other songs. I added it in there because it's my new wake up song. Chicken, the lava. We can kind of make our own song like that. Maybe we can do our own chicken and lava thing. Chicken. We can do it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of how we can do that song, but who knows?
Ruby says a lot of Filipinos in the U.S. who have overstayed their visas and took steps to make them stay legally are now in deep trouble for deportation, even after living for decades.
It's a little dangerous to travel, to come in or out right now
If
is,
you are
is
an
a
immigrant,
concern.
and whether an immigrant, whether or just look like an immigrant, I wouldn't.
Here's my thing. What they're starting to feel in the US is a third world thing to me. When I was in Egypt or other countries, I always had a very uneasiness like being here, because of the way the country is and all of that. And now the US is starting to feel like that, like very unstable. You used to be able to rely on the US being solid for the most part. See what I mean? You know why I would have more problems here as far as or other countries. Like when I was in Egypt X amount of years ago or Canada, you still have a chance of being deported for the simplest things, whether it's corruption or like Egypt. I mean, if you don't know somebody of somebody and they do it, it could be somebody could pay to have you thrown out. It's hard, but it's starting. That's what the U.S. is starting to feel like, in my opinion, is very unstable. It's scary. So, but it's a bad time to travel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Bryan says Canadians are telling people to carry burner phones, and one with a burner phone is usually hiding something.
Right.
Illegal
Bad
aliens have no
advice.
rights. Bisangano says 30 or so Pinoy have been deported already. Correct. Ruby says they could lose their Social Security pension. James Smith says I had some overstay Filipino friends, great friends.
Well, when you
Um,
say they could lose their Social Security pension, talking about people that are deported and come back to the Philippines, some of them depend. I don't know if that's what you were talking about, Ruby.
no, she's saying that
Oh, a lot of Filipinos in the U.S. who have overstayed their visas then took the steps for them to stay legally are now in trouble. Yeah, even after gotcha.
Philip Macy says California will continue to try to destroy a state with the highest potential in the U.S.
By the way, for those that don't know, today's our holiday Easter live stream. So there'll be a bunch of topics that we're going to cover or just, so we'll be on extra long today. That's why we started early and we've already done our Easter basket reveals with each other and had breakfast this morning. And so we're just hanging out today. I wish George would smile. He seems a little serious this morning.
Ruby says, I'm sure, but if the U.S. government's going on this path to deportation, then they're in big trouble. And Ted says, Ruby, there's no one to get them in trouble.
It's 420. You could at least smile for that purpose. Show me your smile for 420 day. Come on. Come on, 420 day. The Easter Bunny and 420.
What good is 420 without the 420?
I can twist you one up if you want one right now.
She's kidding, guys.
I am. Well, actually, I have clove cigarettes, which I rarely smoke them, but they're rolled. So
Ruby, if they deport Phil in, do they charge them
and
for
they
the
are, by
flight?
the way.
They don't, but the thing is, from my understanding, they're not all illegal.
It's actually clove, lavender, and rose petals.
Some
So
of these are legals, and they are turning away citizens too. So it's not a question.
naturalized citizens and
There's a lot of issues with what's going on, and I'm not defending them because they're Filipinos. I'm saying it's because there's obviously something wrong. Ruby says free one-way ticket. I'm sure they'll make it highly impossible to get visas back in the U.S. Correct.
well, Trump said in his thing yesterday or the day before, he said that that's what he was elected for, and he plans to fix all the parts about immigration, and that he's going to keep pushing all this. To me, the extra pushing is going to drive the people nuts, so he can declare martial law. And I think a lot of this is a distraction to do things, but well, we shall see. So, it's my opinion.
Well, Heidi's not really saying anything way off here. It's not. No, I'm not picking on Trump by any means.
Look at
because it has nothing to do with Trump. Be honest with you, it's
I think it's hillbilly land.
and I've told Heidi this. The biggest thing that the U.S. government. I'm speaking about the U.S. government, and I'm not talking ill of the U.S. government either. Is the protection of its citizens. Okay, that's the biggest thing, and this is always a theme. Ever since World War II, if you pay ever since post World War II, the United States has always been its freedom has always been in threat from different countries, come what may, whether it's you name it. Vietnam, because communism is encroaching on Vietnam. Korean War, communism is encroaching in Korea, that kind of deal. USSR, well, they're just commies, you know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is there's the US government's freedom has always been in some form of danger. Now, I'm not going to go deeper into this, but there's the reoccurring theme that there is some form of danger that will basically destroy the American freedom, as it were. And the problem with this is with that, you can control the people. The fact that you're afraid of something, you will tend to say yes because you believe that said government is protecting you from that threat. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So what I'm saying is whether it's Biden or Trump, it doesn't matter. Point being, there will always be something. And that's what I
Mhm.
always say. I always tell Heidi, don't watch what he's doing now, watch what he's doing that nobody's paying attention to. But anyway, David Bryan says, I hope they charge my ex if they get her. Um, right? Charger.
George is always trying. You guys are like, uh, we're gonna turn Heidi into immigration. Shit, I gotta worry about George doing it on a daily basis. Bitch, make my bacon.
Right. Sankano says even Hannity is losing his mind because they may allow Trump tax cuts to expire with no renewal, 3% tax
No,
hike.
all the big people that used to be political or otherwise, I've seen all spectrums affected by what Trump's doing. And this is the first time I've ever seen in history where, he's doing things that no other man would do. But on the other hand, you see a lot going on. So it's, yeah.
Yeah, James Smith, Ruby, I will hide them. Scott Eyes of the Rose says, I hope they get my ex that lives at 1234 Ford Avenue in Baltimore, Maryland.
Snap, right?
Yeah, there's this TikTok that's going on that's going viral. It says, oh my,
Oh my God, I'm worried about my mother-in-law.
yeah,
And she's here in New York, and she's in Brooklyn, and she's in an apartment with these gates around it, and got two dogs in it, and they're gonna get her, and at 326 and Main Road. And I'm like, oh, holy shit, that was
It's
messed
hilarious.
up. Soon as it started, he's like, I'm afraid they're gonna
That
take
was
her
hilarious.
away. And
Yeah.
it was hilarious. Yeah.
Ruby says, same here, Heidi. Got a group of friends I play mahjong when I'm in the Philippines. There you go.
Yeah, I just actually learned this, but what was it I didn't know how to do solitaire. George was surprised,
I know how
but
to
I
play
never.
solitaire. I don't know how to play mahjong.
Yeah, I've learned that, but I've learned it online, and I'm thinking there are different versions, but I have a better idea how to do it. I don't know, like doing it in person, if it's different. Like if there's different ways of stacking it. I've watched the movie Joy Luck Club probably 50 times at least. I love that movie, just like The Last Emperor. And I've seen it over and over again, but they play it during the movie. And I know they put them all down and they pull the pieces out. Now, are they already stacked in the game that I'm playing? Is that really how it, and I'm sure it's similar, but it's like one of the things that I do to, you know, like
Yeah.
relax. It's one of our gaming,
No, yeah, I know.
so.
I mean,
George had gotten me, like when I met him, I rarely game. Like I would play on the occasional PlayStation with the kids, or I would play Mortal Kombat on the occasion, and then of course Atari, and then other games. But as far as getting into more of the other games, I had just not played it in the last X amount of years. And so when I met George, we used to play Monster Legends all the time. It was one of our things. It was so sweet. He used to buy me these monsters that cost X amount of money. I'm like, holy crap, I would have never spent that kind of money. He used to send gifts to my account all the time. It was really sweet. George is a very thoughtful person.
I am.
No, you're an insensitive prick sometimes, but
Sometimes.
half the time.
No, that's my default mode.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. Ruby says profiling and prejudice to certain ethnic groups. There you go. David Bryant says you
We
should be
can write a
eating.
song. Insensitive prick and bitch. Dun, 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 dun. We ought to make some sort of song
see.
that puts us, yeah.
Yeah, you should be eating the heads off chocolate bunnies then. There you go.
Oh, yes.
Sangano says my basil
I did that with
smells
George
like
last night.
420 sometimes. That's as good as it gets here in the Philippines.
No, we do.
Actually, malunggay, if it's cooked a certain way, smells like 420.
Yeah. So yeah, no.
In fact, if you buy Manny Pacquiao's coffee, malunggay coffee, it smells like
when you.
it almost smells like 420.
Yes.
Yeah, we haven't had that in a while.
No, we didn't. I don't think it's readily available when it first came out. But remember, we've been in the Philippines over 4 years now. It just doesn't seem like it. But George is a returning Filipino after being in the U.S. For those that don't know, you were there how many years? 26, 28, 27?
27.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
now
returning for retirement.
Yeah, Jimmy. Just so you know, I'm gonna give you an honest response on this one. Hi, George and Heidi. Who do you think is happier being single, Gio or I? I'm going to be honest with you.
I know who I think is.
Now, who's probably going to show you who's happier is going to be Maya.
This is a
Keyword
female that she's not
show
affected,
you.
and that she's probably, if I was out there, I'd be like, you'd be open to other people, so you're in a
But
better.
deep down inside, I'm going to be honest
Me.
with you.
I think it's
Gio.
Geo. Yeah, Geo shows up. And a
Now,
shout out to Geo, by
the
the way.
reason being is these are
'Cause we still
first
watch
off,
that, man.
these are to hi Gio. No,
Tell him about the new kitten. We changed
Oh, we're
to Geo
renamed to Gio. Yes.
only because we haven't found the black cat hasn't had a permanent name, and we were calling him Chan and different things. He's not answering, so we called the other cat Gucci that we've had for years. And so I'm like, well, why don't we name him Giovanni, which is his name, and just call him Gio? And so he does answer. So we got one Calvin for Sunshine, and now we got Geo.
Yeah. Now the reason why I say this is because the personality profiles. What I'm saying is, Maya will show that she's happier. However, be also aware that she's covering her happiness. She's showing this happiness as a cover.
Mm,
If that makes any sense.
yeah.
Versus Geo's just being Geo. So it's kind of like Geo's more of like
Well, that and she's a mother. She's got to keep some sort of, like nothing's affecting her. She's got to keep a presence. You don't want your kids seeing you depressed and falling apart and moving on. I mean, she can't do all that.
well, that's not where I get it too, but that's not
She's got to show. Oh, you're talking about like happier, not just showing it. Okay.
right. No, I'm talking about
Gotcha.
no. What I'm saying is one is more busy in covering things up than it takes effort to cover things up, to cover the pain, and that takes away from the healing process. If that makes any sense, that's what I was getting at. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, Hector Guat says happy 420 day, right? No, it is 420 day. Yes, April 20, 420. I need some barbecue flavored potato chips.
I bought a bunch of snacks for George the other day. That way we were just snacking out all day because we tend to really snack heavy during the holidays. And you'd gotten a couple new snacks.
David Bryan, has anyone lost their freedom during the jab years? I think you're referring in the United States, I believe, right?
Yeah, I don't know what that's. Yeah, let us know.
That's C19, the jab years. Yeah, that's why I said United States.
Probably.
Because I don't think he's talking about the Philippines. Because in the Philippines, you're restricted to your freaking barangay. I mean, so that's not a very big area. Luckily, the barangays here, the ones we were in, they had everything in them. Some barangays didn't have nothing.
Them were rough years. The Philippines was, for those that didn't pay attention, being it's been a while after. What's it been, a few years now?
Yeah,
It was rough during that time for the Philippines, the expats. Some couldn't get back in, some couldn't get out. And they finally, that's why we went to Mexico. We didn't want to live in the United States. We wanted to start our like vlogging adventure, and it'd be cheaper to live in Mexico. It was nice to go to Mexico. And at that point, when we got to the Philippines, there was really a major lockdown. And so it was.
yeah, no, it is. Yeah,
It
like
was really
Chosen
rough.
One says, Philippines is not for amateurs; it's advanced level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, and I played with Chosen One on Call of Duty, just so you guys know.
Oh, yeah?
Well, I don't think it's our Chosen One though, but it was a guy named Chosen. He invited me to play. But anyway,
Ooh, I need this.
oh Jesus. Cindy
Well, I
G
coulda
says
saved the
happy
donuts.
Easter. I already went to 5 a.m. sunrise service. So fun. There you go.
I was wondering, we could hear the 5 a.m. service here too. And I said, I'm just no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just, I'm a Scientologist. I said, I'll wait for my Krispy Kreme donuts and just send. So.
Yeah. Dave Bryan says my ex is in Houston, Texas. Funny Man says I will pay them to take my ex if they take her. There you go. David Bryan, me too.
Me too.
Ruby says, Mahjong have same rules like Filipino rules are different from Chinese rules. It's actually a good game to keep your mind
I
sharp
like it.
for
I
doing
really
tactical
do.
moves and observe what's being put out there. There you
Yeah.
go.
So what I'm yeah. So I think the ones I'm playing online, there might be different versions. Like the one I'm playing seems to be stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, that's the
But
real
I think
Mahjong.
so I think it's a different. There's different. But I mean, I've always liked the dominoes and always liked those type of games. That's more my speed when it comes into these grinding games. And like I tried to play the bingo again online. Man, they keep doing me dirty every time. So I can't even get past one card. So I used to
Yeah.
play it in Mexico, but it's kind of cool. Kind of cool.
David Bryan says, I like Monopoly. He says Geo's a little bit crazy. There's nothing wrong with a little bit crazy. A little bit crazy keeps things interesting.
Right? That's why he married me.
Exactly. White Samurai says most women seem to be unhappy. There's always something they want and they don't have. A woman will sleep with a man or enter with a relationship for money, but a man will rarely do that. Correct.
You know what? I would have to agree, but I think the guys are too. I just don't think they show it, in my opinion. So us women, I was telling George, I was like, do I wear all my emotions on my sleeves when I like talk to him? And we were talking this morning, and I think we're just more emotional. We're just built that way.
Well,
Because I was like, does it?
it's more like this. It's more again, I'm now this is overgeneralization. I'm not saying all men are like this. By default, men won't show they're happy if they're not happy. By default.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not. Most of us do not know how to pretend.
I just think that's what appears. Well, I think Filipinos are a little different. A lot of them hold a lot of things in. I think Filipinos in general tend to hold in where, like me, you're going to hear about it. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'm aching. Or George will hear when I'm not feeling well. So it's just different things where I just say things out loud all the time. But that might just be me. I got to do this today, and oh my God, I got to clean the bathroom today. And it seems like bitching, but then there's other times to say, oh my God, ow, that hurts. But I say a lot of things out loud. So,
Yeah. Ruby says, thinking of games that will keep your mind sharp and at the same time socializing with people. Correct.
yeah. Yep.
Tony Manning says, if you want a good snack, get Oreo popcorn. That sounds really good. Um, that does sound really good. White Samurai says, a little could be the understatement of the century.
A little.
Jimmy Master says, 100% agree that Geo dodged a bullet, literally. Not sure why he married a woman with a child if he wasn't into that lifestyle.
Well, I'm wondering if any of the rumors are true that we kept hearing. Maybe you guys have watched those other channels. About the only drama channel we used to watch was, and it's been a long time since we did that, was Andy Omar. And when he started using us and telling misinformation about us, we stopped watching. But we did hear from other people that emailed us, so we don't watch all those channels. They said that she was a drinker and she was abusive towards him. This is alleged. I can't say that it was true, but did anybody else hear the rumors that she was drama and all that, and it didn't come from Gio's side, that he left because of other issues that was going on her side? That's what we kept hearing. I can say this is what was out there. We're not sure, not
Actually, I
confirmed
believe somebody in our room did say that.
that somebody had, yeah, they said that she was a drinker and that
Yeah, when the breakup first
she
happened, I believe
it
they
was
did
the
mention
rumors
it.
were going around that
Yeah.
that, and there were just issues. There were several issues, but they're saying mostly it was in a physical attacks. And yeah, no man's going to deal with that if too much going on. And they're going to be on women are going to be on their best behavior in the beginning. Men will too. Don't get me wrong. You guys aren't innocent by no means. But for the most part, women will hide that shit well. Have you found that women tend to hide stuff?
I don't know about hiding
We
it
tuck the
well.
crazy in,
Guys just tend to
ignore
ignore.
it. There it is. Okay, so we think we're hiding it well.
No, there's always red flags. Then again, who doesn't have red flags?
Did I have red flags? You said you knew that on day what? Day one?
Yes, I did say that. I told you that.
What gave that away, lover boy? When I said we're gonna get married?
I told Heidi that.
We went bowling and out to eat, and he put his name up there, and I gave him a hug or something, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna marry you, but we were a couple drinks in too, and he said,
Well,
nope.
you can call those drinks, I guess.
Dirty bong water? Are you kidding me?
Apple Jack Daniels. That's still one of my favorite drinks.
Yeah,
Apple Jack Daniels.
but yeah, so it's but George, yeah, he
Yes, dirty
was.
bong water. If you guys haven't tried it, ask for it. It's actually really good if done properly.
Mm,
If done properly, it looks nasty, but it's actually really good.
I used to drop the bong water in his bong water when I made him at home. That's what made him extra special.
Yeah.
Are you okay there?
Yeah.
Probably needs an allergy
David Bryant
pill.
says men are usually the innocents. Jimmy Master says he put on a lot of sexual energy on screen, so I could see why Gio was nuts about her in the beginning. She puts
Yeah.
on, yeah.
I think a lot of the female vloggers, American or otherwise, are Filipinas. Yeah, it's
Well, I'm just gonna shut up. But anyway, because that was just too easy.
oh,
Okay, I'm gonna say it anyway.
oh boy, yeah.
Never mind. It's just too easy.
Easy pickings, huh?
Yeah. All I can say is smells like fish.
Oh my god, you're always saying that. And it's
What? Yeah, now again, so mm, yeah. No,
might as
no,
well
no,
wait
no,
and
no. No, I was
see.
just no, 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 no. Again, so for those of you again, just remember the problem is here again. There's a lot of problems when it comes to, for example, remember I just said it smells like fish. First off, and those of you who are new and haven't probably heard me say this before, beware of those bilmoko yan, bilmoko yan. Bilmoko is short for bili mo ako. It means buy me this. So bilmoko yan. In fact, there's a song, a Filipino song about this. Um, the problem is when you land here in the Philippines and you'll find girls. In fact, Big Brr actually mentioned this. He says his exact words is, "I ratted myself out." Um, what he's talking about is he brags so much about his lifestyle that the girls start to figure this out, and now they want stuff from him. If that makes any sense. So
Oh.
instead of, he even says,
Well, he always told him that he was a vlogger, so they probably at that point
yeah. So
really.
now they want stuff, and it's even his words are now they're not cheap anymore. I mean, back then he can get girls cheap.
Take him out to Jollibee.
Yeah, now he couldn't do that anymore. So what I'm saying is Big Bird did the same kind of the reverse mistake, I guess. Because first he was going cheap, and then eventually he ramped it up, and now he can't get it back. If that makes any sense. Because remember, the locals already know you, so you can't rewind it. He even says, "Oh, I'm gonna stay here in the U.S. for a while. They'll eventually forget about it, and I'll fly back, and then basically the counter gets reset that they forget about him, and he can start cheap again." So don't do make that mistake that a lot of Americans when they first land here, or Europeans or Australians or Canadians, whatnot, when they first land here, the first instinct you have is to show off, give out big tips, go to
Hmm.
these expensive bars, go to these expensive restaurants, and
Yeah.
guess what? The moment you do that, you can't rewind it. You can't take it back. People already know
And not
you.
with the woman you're
Yeah,
dating
they
when
already
you're
pegged
overspending.
you. You're
Hmm.
stuck. Yeah,
These guys take them on big
correct.
vacations, rent out the cars. It even comes down to when they marry him and everything else. Like we just found that other vlogger that, the last one we covered, he did everything. He bought the motorcycle, he bought the house, fixed up the family's house, he did all that stuff and was overspending. So, that's part of the wasting money and time situation. It just seems like even the ones out there vlogging, like Gio, we never thought he was going to marry. We were talking about Brian, Philly in the Philippines. Big shout out to him. He just covered where he had the issues online, sent her the money, came here and found out a whole different story. He had covered that story a while back. I thought there was more to the story where he said that he even went to go see her or something, like when he came back, and there was like a big deal with that. But he lost a lot of money with that girl too. And so it just seems like wasting money and wasting time had become, it becomes, yeah.
Right. And
And you set
again,
high
like
expectations.
there's one of those, yeah. Like Heidi says, there are guys that before you even come here, or girls again, or guys and guys, I mean, again, doesn't matter what your sexuality is, but there's same thing. There's guys and guys that lose money because they send their loved one, and that loved one is fake. I'm not saying that that person's fake. Well, some of them are fake, but what I'm saying is, but their love is fake. You know what I'm saying? And then they take the money and run, kind of deal. So, but yeah, that happens too. Again, there's a lot of expats who sell everything in the U.S. and then, I mean, my heart goes out to them, but man, they give them everything, everything, and some of these Filipinas or Filipinos are heartless, and they just, screw you.
No,
You're the one who gave me the money.
no, it is. I'm gonna tell you. I told you. I ain't gonna lie, and I told you guys. I don't care who I offend on that. That they Filipinos in general, male or female, they're the sweetest people in the world. But on the other hand, they're cold, man. I'm cold. Babe, you're about the most hot and cold person I ever met. No in between.
Huh?
That's true.
What?
You're a cold ass snake sometimes. True. You gonna know me 24/7
Well,
for the most part.
well,
Oh, okay. What? I'm cold.
you,
At least I have an in between temperature.
you do.
You don't. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Bought you those donuts and didn't ask for money back on that. How about you give me half the money back for that?
Oh yeah, where's my change?
Right there. There was no change. You gave him the change.
Yeah, I did.
No, you are. It's true about
All 80
Filipinos.
pesos of it.
And some of the stuff
I'm
I've
80 pesos richer.
seen, some, boy, but
Joking.
some of the stuff that I've seen has been like unreal. But yeah. So the same with, we were talking about wasting money or the money thing earlier. We were talking about just the cost and stuff, and you'll get used to that being peso in a peso mindset and stuff, and the overcharging and everything else. Speaking of overcharging,
Well, think about it as simple as this. Like, for example, the Krispy Kreme donuts, again, in the US are 20, $20 for, 2 dozen. I mean, a dozen, sorry, a dozen,
uh-huh,
and $20 for 6 pieces. I mean,
uh-huh.
when you land here, you're like, oh my God, they're half the cost, so that
So
kind
then
of
you
deal.
spend more.
You spend more.
Hmm.
Or for example, it's like a beer. Okay, let's just take a simple beer. On
Alcohol
average,
free.
beer costs 50 pesos to 60 pesos depending where you're at. Yes, they sell beer here for as low as 50 pesos. So,
Filipino alcohol is cheap.
well, yeah, for that example, even Filipino alcohol, what I'm saying is, yeah, 50 pesos. It's like
Manning
it's a
Turbo.
buck, right? But even in the U.S., you're like, man, beers are usually $3. You know what I'm saying? So you basically Philippines will nickel and dime you, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. Not literally, but you know what I'm saying? It will nickel and dime you. You think you're, oh, since I'm gonna be paying a buck for a beer, I'll just keep on buying. You don't think about it. It does add up. It's like going to a dollar
Immediately.
store. You guys ever go to a dollar
Mm-hmm.
store? Oh, $20 is enough. You get to the counter, it's like $53. Like,
We've done that.
oh crap, it's $53. What did I get? You know what I'm saying?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same exact thing, except bigger. Right.
How the hell do you? Because the items are $1 each, or used to be. You throw
Well,
them on the
yeah. I
cart.
mean, back then, everybody in this live, I'm sure I've been to Dollar Tree and gone to the counter and been shocked. You're like, wait a minute, what the hell did I get? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't pay attention. You're just thinking, oh, it's a buck here, it's a buck here, it's a buck here.
Bunch of them
But
dollar pork
but then
chops.
you don't add it up in your head, and then you're like, wait a minute.
Here it happens.
Oh yeah, here.
Cheap adds up because they got like those 20 peso snacks, and we got a bunch of them for this, for this weekend. I'm like, how the hell did that add up to 1,000 pesos or $20 that quick? It did.
Yeah. Well, for example, when we bought taho every day, which costs like 50
Mhm.
pesos per day or something, and it's the two of us, so we spent about 100 pesos a day. It's no big deal, right? But then we added it up, and we're like,
$2 a day was 60 a month.
we can go out if we stop eating taho.
60 is what was adding up to.
Yeah. So it's like we could have gone out like twice in a week, that kind of deal.
Yeah,
Like,
twice extra in a month. Yeah.
so yeah, in a month, yeah. So that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah.
Another
So
electronic, another.
right, and so we stopped buying taho every day because we're like, no, we'd rather go out. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we mean. It's just the little stuff add up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And Western items are always going to cost like those donuts. And now to me, it's still a fraction of the cost. I think we decided it's about 25% cheaper. It's not even 25% cheaper like McDonald's, but there is a small price difference when you buy Western stuff. But some of these restaurants we were talking, the Korean ones or the foreign ones, um, you're paying the Western price for it. Like when we went to Denny's, that didn't even take long at all for that
Oh
to
yeah,
hit 40,
Denny's.
$50. And people are like, how'd you spend that? Well, we got the appetizer. Then they only did canned sodas, not fountain. So we both got two of those. And then by the time we both added in our plates, it did add up to 40 or 50. So,
And it's okay. I mean, Denny's is Denny's. I mean, it's not exactly a high end restaurant to begin with. Just saying.
well, that or the other things that hit you, a lot of people like, oh, well, that's cheap. You guys are just being cheap. No, we came here for cheap. Yes, George wanted to return to the family, but infrastructure versus costs, we came here for a reason, but those costs are on the rise for sure. And when you keep getting hit, like, people are raising the prices of items, they're
Right.
starting to go up.
Yeah,
That is
and
for sure.
I have nothing against Denny's, but what I'm saying is, if you're here in the Philippines, you might as well find a different restaurant that's better. I mean,
We've spent a lot of money the last 2 days. It was really surprising by the time, and then it's just something that you wonder, how Filipinos would deal with it. They just wouldn't do it. So, like for instance, it was just 1,000 for the donuts with the delivery and for the tip. Then you add in yesterday was 2,200. So that's 32. The snacks would have put it at 40 something. Then or for Oh, thank you. Happy Easter. Thank you, James.
thanks so much, Jane Smith.
Thank you.
Thank
Really
you for the
appreciate that.
Easter support there. Thank you.
There's your
There's your donuts, woman.
At least James is a real man.
Ooh, burn.
I love you. I just
David
just
Bryan
had to do
says
that for the troll.
charging for water
Thank
should
you,
be
James.
a sin. There you go.
It should. We were talking about bottled water the other day. I remember when they started selling it when I was a teenager, and I'm like, what idiot would pay for bottled
Right, I know.
water? And now here you
Who's the
have
fool
to.
now, right? I know.
Hmm.
Yeah, James says it's the cost of a dozen donuts. Thank you so
Thank
much. Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank
And
you,
it
James. Thank you
does
for the
help.
donuts.
For those that don't know, um, um, the kittens have been sick, so I'm a little emotional about it because we were talking about that the other day. That baby girl, she's got an upper respiratory issue, and we had to actually two of them are now on it because it spreads really quick. We tried to isolate, but Bing's mom is still feeding them. We still felt that they needed her milk, which is helping. So I got to wipe her stomach down to make sure she's staying clean and they're not double spreading it. And so, yeah, it's getting a little better. She's been on them for a few
You know,
days, but
she's running around happy right now.
yeah. So I'm just glad
Hopefully
to see
she'll be
her
fine.
better. Yeah, it's just we had lost that kitten a few years ago, but I don't know why I
She's
mentioned that.
talking about Ted. She's talking about Ted.
Yeah. So let's see, where was I at? So yeah, things adding up. Then I did the groceries because I'm doing a ham later, but with the leftover pizza, I don't know if I'm going to cook the ham. I'm probably just going to leave it
I don't think
frozen.
it's necessary.
Yeah,
There's
because
enough
there's
pizzas
enough food.
and
So
donuts.
all in all, ordering the last few times and the shopping has added up probably to 200 this last couple days. Just little things here and there, and it just seemed to add up. And to some people, like, oh, why? In the U.S., we'd have probably been out $600-700. You know how we used to go to Walmart and get a couple $100 for to do a big cooking and then to prep for the weekend. And so, but here's the thing: we're not paying other expenses. Like, we're not using a car 7 days a week to go back and forth to work. It's there's other costs that we're not paying, like the internet, the cell phones, and we were paying cable at that time, which is kind of crazy. That added up to several hundred. So it's where we were saving things that we were spending in the US. It's just that I've been here so long. I'm like, dang, 1,000 pesos is kind of cringe.
Well,
It's kind
and
of
think about it this
because I
way.
think about how hard Filipinos work, and then I do stupid thing like
Yeah.
order Krispy Kreme.
Well, like for example, the Krispy Kreme donuts. Again, I'm not picking on anybody, but I'm just saying.
But YOLO. I
Let's
say
say we ordered Krispy Kreme 10 times in a month. Okay. Guess what that amounts to? That's our rent.
you getting a job, a third one.
You know what I'm saying? That's our rent. So what I'm saying is
That is true.
that gives you a perspective on the weight of how much
Correct. I just thought about
how
that.
much you
20 times
spend.
10. Our rent's 170 a month, 2 bedroom,
Yeah.
2 bathrooms.
So if we order Krispy Kreme 10 times, that's our rent. So what I'm saying is there's a good disproportionate on value here.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's not
And
cut and dry.
yeah, no, exactly. Exactly.
No, that's a
So
good scenario. Yeah.
correct.
Because a lot of people will flip it when we say that our electric is about 175 to 200 with the AC now running all the time. People are like, oh, well, that's cheap compared to the US. You guys are getting a bargain. Hell nah. The average electric bill's $40 here, and that's them not running AC. Some people even only pay 1,000. For the places that are all open up in Tondo and those cheaper places, they're paying $12 a month or so, but compared to the US, us running the AC all the time, we have full electronics, the live streams, 200 would actually be cheap, I'm sure. So I don't know, it's kind of where it's at.
Yeah. So again, the fact that again that most things here are they're cheaper but
Easier
not
to
at the
spend.
same time. It's kind of funny. It's like there's a big disproportionate amount. Like for instance, like depending on your vehicle, your car registration, or motorcycle registration can run as low as like 1,000 pesos to three
A
thousand
fraction of
pesos
the US.
or 4,000 pesos. Basically, between 1,000 to 4,000 pesos. That's car registration and insurance. That is cheap. You know what I'm saying? That is cheap.
So people don't not drive because of the cost, because even the insurance is really cheap here. They don't drive because it's crazy out there. They're constant. We're talking not American type of accidents. We're talking crazy accidents
Right.
here. And as a foreigner, it gets even crazier because even if you're not at fault, I've heard a lot of people get blamed anyways. There's
No,
someone
even
now
if you're not
looking
at
for an
fault, that's your
attorney.
fault.
They put it on
If
expat
you're the one who
form.
drives the car, well, actually, if you're the foreigner, forget what you're driving. It's your fault.
Well, it's kind of like in the U.S. If somebody's got a Mercedes and looks like they have money and this, and that, yeah, the attorneys will find a way to turn it on the other drivers.
And
But
let's say
here
let's say it's
even
not your fault. Okay, let's say it's not your fault. Don't bank on it. What I'm saying is because the average payout for insurance here is 200,000 pesos. 200,000 pesos. Think about it. That's
Mhm.
barely enough for even a hospital bill. 200,000. That doesn't pay nothing.
Hi, Sarah.
You know what
Good
I'm saying?
morning.
And that's the average cost. I mean, payout of an insurance company here. So I'm just letting you guys know.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of things when it comes to another thing that they do is they come here and usually the guys have already got a pre-woman set up that they've been dating online, been here once, went back, and then they finally come here for their final stay. They start traveling a lot. Like they'll hit other countries. And yes, once you're in Asia, it is cheaper to go to these other countries. But once you go there, you got to forget, or you didn't forget that once you leave outside and you're going to Japan, Vietnam, Korea, some of these places actually do cost way more than the budget you initially had. So then you trying to show off in front of your lady, or you're just kind of in that mood. Like when I met George, we both probably spent more money than we thought we were going to.
Yeah.
And so, like, George would do something, and then on Valentine's, he had Andrea Bocelli tickets for us. And I've told everybody about this before. Then I went and got an expensive hotel, over there in Tampa. And then I Ubered us over instead of driving. Remember, we took all the Ubers instead of that way we could just kick back. And I was going to do a limo. And then I was like, okay, that's a little extensive. And near Valentine's Day, a lot of them are booked up, but that kind of thing. So, but people when they get
Oh, that's right. It
here,
was a Valentine's show.
yeah. So
Yeah, and
we
then he
did all
sang with his
kinds.
son. That's right.
His son appeared, which we were very
Yeah.
lucky that he did, and we did a lot of things when we went to Orlando, and
Yeah, and then
we
we watched
both.
Freeman on Fire too on concert.
So we did a lot of
Yeah.
things, and so you just spend a lot when you first, you know, especially with the guys that are in these age gaps, and you're sowing your oats. What do you call that at that point? You're not sowing your oats, you're sowing your rice again. You're
Right.
sowing rice, but
Right.
it's it's really easy. But on the other hand, I wanted to say how, as a foreigner, it doesn't matter. They always see me with money. Whether it's, I was telling George that we had a comment where they thought they were insulting me the other day by saying that when I go to the mall, everybody's staring at me because I'm big. And I'm like, well, yeah, hello. I'm a big white American. They're staring at me. It's not my size. I've lived with the size difference my entire life. It's because I'm a foreigner. You don't think with you being old that, or you're with a woman that even if she is close to your age, she still looks young. They're looking at you as a couple. It's going to happen. It really is. But they see you as money. It's oh, see you later, Victoria.
Bye, Victoria.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, Victoria.
Yeah. Be
Yeah.
safe. Be really safe. It's crazy out there. But yeah, they're going to see you as having money and they expect you to spend money. I don't know how many times have we stepped up to go buy something, whether it's from a table of food or from buying things that are in the marketplace or at a store, and they're like, that's it. They've actually said that. Is this all? Is that it? It's like, yeah, we're not there to, they try to convince us all the time to buy extra. And it's like, not today. So, yeah.
Yeah. No. And again, it's horrible. Like, say, for instance, like whenever I drive the car, which is it's very harrowing because again, there's a lot of people, a lot of kamote drivers out there. Kamote. I was explaining Heidi yesterday what kamote means. Kamote means potato.
Oh,
Well, sweet potato to be precise.
you got a coffee.
But when you hear Filipinos say kamote, and then you hear driver somewhere in the sentence. If you hear
Oh,
kamote and driver in the same sentence,
yeah, that's what they said
they're
about that
they're
guy.
talking about that the driver's an idiot. It's our Filipino term for an idiot.
Yeah, because that accident that happened, I said, well, they said he was a camote, a
Right.
camote seller, and he's like, no, I think they were.
Now, for those of you wondering, where did the term potato come from with idiot? It's because, okay, again, I'm not picking on anybody. I'm just giving you the origin of the story. Um, when somebody's being an idiot, the saying actually goes mangamutia, which means he's picking potatoes. He's picking potatoes, and the full saying is, he's so dumb, all he can do is pick potatoes. That's the full sentence. He's so dumb, all he can do is pick potatoes. So when they say mangamutia, means he's picking potatoes. That's the short form, and now it evolved to kamote. It's just the word kamote. That's it. And then now people know. Oh, he's an idiot. That's what kamote means. Just so you guys know.
Yeah, sorry, I'm disturbing George
Yeah.
recording because we have up and coming content. George
Oh,
has street footage,
Dang, White Samurai, you just ain't right.
and we have other footage that'll be coming
White
out.
Samurai says, back where I'm from, we call those drivers Asian. No, no, no,
Oh,
no, no.
snap.
Now, White Samurai, judging from your statement, you're Caucasian.
White boy in the house.
you know,
Wow.
you know why Asian drivers are so horrible? It's
because they can't see.
Yes. I mean, look at us. This is how we drive.
Hey, George, did you wake up?
Why do you think I wear glasses? Why do you think I wear glasses? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, I was just looking
Anyway.
at that. It's the way you have your hands in the shadow. It looks like
So anyway,
you're super dark because the
little
light.
Asian joke there, folks. Don't get mad. I am Asian, so I'm allowed to do that. All right, so
I'm gonna make fun of Asians anyways, and I'm not Asian.
well, you're a special case, and I don't mean as in special case special, but anyway.
I'm the little package that keeps on giving all year.
Right.
Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hoppity, Easter's on its way. You don't know that song?
And no, I don't know that song because
From the
Filipinos. Filipinos don't
What do you sing for Easter?
celebrate
That's the commercialized side of
real
Easter.
Filipinos don't celebrate the Easter bunny.
No, they're out there whipping themselves and at church at 4 a.m.
Correct.
So count me out. I'm so science, baby. It's science. Like they're blinding me with science situation.
What?
They're blinding me with science.
Oh yeah, I had to scrub the car yesterday, by the way, again to make sure that there's no
he's
leftover, human. I'm pretty sure I missed some spots
yeah,
on
blood.
the
Well,
car.
I'll just say blood. We're this far into the live stream. No, when he went out to go get the meds and everything and came in during the live, he's not kidding. He had to stop at a car wash because they're walking up and down the streets and they're doing the penitence and
penitence.
Yeah, that
Yes.
it just became like a hot mess. But it's interesting. I mean, I thought about the other day, I was complaining that they were still doing the Passion of the Christ, the reading, and it's a repeat of the same chant. And it's a short chant, but it was the constant 24 hours that they do in our neighborhood that just got to be, it was very wearing because they don't do anything light in this neighborhood. They turn those speakers up, whether it's a basketball game, whether it's where they're doing pageants and all of that. As a matter of fact, in your book, you were writing and giving people ideals about if they move and go somewhere, like when they go to look for housing, that they should check all this stuff, how close they are to a basketball court, because it's just not basketball, it's everything. The election people get out there, or where they do events to hand things out. They're all there. They do the pageants, and you should check for all these things if you're worried about noise. But here, I've been in other neighborhoods. They crank those speakers up, and when the power goes down, which it has been because everybody's home, they were still going over there, man. They were still going when the power outages happened. So basketball games, everything.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I don't know if they got solar over there now.
Well,
or,
don't live near a basketball court. I'm just tell you guys right now.
Mm,
Don't live near a basketball court.
yeah. So
You will hear that ball dribble almost 24/7, literally.
That's me.
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Don't it break?
David Bryan says, "Great, my ex was camote then."
Wow.
She's a potato.
But I'm a potato.
Yeah.
What's that they're doing?
Right.
I'm a potato. Oh, jeez. Speaking of potatoes, the cats are in their nap time.
Jimmy says, "Put it on a dish." There you go. He's talking about. Come on, Josh. He's talking about my. David Bryan says a Filipino song. How nice. There you go. Talking about the Bil mo ko yun, bil mo ko yan. Ah, araw-araw. But anyway, it is a Filipino song that a guy. It's about a guy complaining that all his girlfriend does is asking him to buy her stuff. Carol Brenner, happy Easter.
Hey, Carol.
Harry
Happy
Walsh,
Easter.
happy Easter. Heidi, George, and all the Antics fanatics. Hey, Harry Walsh,
Hey,
how you doing,
happy
man?
Easter.
David Bryan says,
Cold
it.
ass snake.
Yeah.
He's a cold-hearted snake. He won't use his wallet. Hey, hey, oh, I will pay again.
Right. Sarah Tyson, happy
He
Easter,
won't
Antics.
do
Hey,
the
Sarah.
dishes. Just look into his eyes. Hey, hey.
David
Just
Bryan says,
pay.
when I
Do
go to
the
Dollar Tree,
dishes.
usually
Do the
around
laundry.
75 cents.
Is he really okay? He's a cold-hearted snake.
Angela says, true, adds up at the end of the week. You're broke. There you go.
It does. And I often wonder because when I'm broke, I literally attack George. It's my default, like you said. What do you always say when I do something? You're like, it's your default. But it's like I told you, And so here's the thing about George. He'll just let me fall into that. He won't say, hey, well, no, sometimes you do warn me. I just don't hear you. So let me correct before I say that. But it's George let me learn from my own mistake as the situation. I said, no, you were just punishing me. He said, no, I actually told you. Didn't you? That's how you tell me. He's like, I told you. And so, no, it's quick. And then when you're down, you're like, then I get upset about cost and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I did overspend. I spent like an American, is what happened. And it's easy because in the US, if I had bought these items and had something delivered in the United States, it would have been probably double the cost. And it gets easy to have things delivered, especially when George is working on the book or working his extra work that he does or his gaming and all that. I'll just say, never mind, I don't want to bother you. I'll just order it. And that adds up, guys. Very quick to do that. So, still that temptation too.
Right. Sangana says, I pay $30 for his electricity for 2 apartments, but I don't use aircon. No need here in Misamis Oriental.
Yeah. So yeah, no, some of the places can be really inexpensive.
Cindy G says, I see the craziest reckless driving ever on a daily basis here. Right on. Yep. Always rich, wealthy foreigner blamed regardless. Correct. And for example, car versus motorcycle, obviously, who will come out with the fatality there. Usually it's the guy on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And usually, let's say, worst case scenario, you're driving and the guy runs a red, okay, which happens here. They run a red light and then they T-bone your car, but they're the ones who ended up X-nate, which it's a very high possibility with a motorcycle, especially if they're not wearing a helmet. Guess what? They're gonna go after you because they're gonna blame you for the accident. And even if it's clear that they're at fault. They're still gonna go after you. They still want you to pay for the funeral and everything. So yeah, no, that's one of my fears. It's not so much as whether it's my fault or his fault. It's more of what are they gonna do about it? Because usually they go after you anyway. Victoria says, "Good morning, Heidi, George, and everyone. Have a blessed Easter."
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, she's gone already.
Oh,
Remember? Yeah. David Bryan says, "I paid off my 5 bedroom house 2 years ago after my ex ditched me, so now I make 4,000 more a month, and I have to spend. Then I have to spend, and she's going crazy." Oh, that's not them.
well, I'm checking because I almost gave the wrong amount. That was, we're expecting medication. Basically, they've ended Easter for the most part on everything else.
Yeah, Angelo says going to Rizal Park and get my pork and chicken outside. Go eating cheap. There you go. Yeah.
So I had the wrong amount out. So
Yeah, I saw it
is there
earlier.
the 20 piece because it's 455?
Yeah, there's a
so,
20 piece.
Yeah, so we're, like I said, tipping is a whole different thing. I've been giving out like crazy.
Yeah, which you shouldn't.
No, because like I said, me giving out 200 peso tips is,
No, you shouldn't overtip because it makes it
which
harder for other people.
it's hard for me because I look at it as it only being $4, but again, they're going to expect that every time they return. So because we tend to get the same grocery deliveries and other deliveries, and mail is not done by an individual mail person. It's all done by what appears to be delivery drivers. So it's but I just noticed that the one fell under, it's the one order fell under both orders. Yeah, see, it doesn't say how it was processed, when it was processed. So it's kind of weird, but they're
Did
sending
any of your medication drop off?
No, still showing it's there. So
Okay.
what we're dealing with now is George has been to the pharmacy twice. So we're going into a third time trying to fill meds for the month. So that's not even a joke when it comes to, like medical, like appointments can be canceled very easily, or you thought you had an appointment, you arrive, and ain't nobody going to take any responsibility on your gas, how you got there. And I think about Filipinos that get on jeepneys and go far distances to some of these appointments. And then they're like, sorry, doctor decided not to come in today. And so usually you would just be totally like pissed off in the US if something like that would happen. But here it's just normal to be, he's not here today. What? So, but for the meds, a lot of times you're only going to get 10 at a time, even if you're needing 30 of them. You have to do it piecemeal sometimes.
Yeah, actually, Heidi does bring up a good point. Be aware that it doesn't mean that a clinic is open, like a private clinic, that a private clinic is open, that the doctor is there. It never has been that way and never will be. Um, so it's very normal to have, for example, when we did the attorney, the attorney guy, attorneys and private attorneys and private doctors, if they have clinics or their little law offices, it doesn't mean that the office is open. It doesn't mean that the lawyer is there or that the
Yeah.
doctor's there. Be aware. They usually sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say, okay, you have most times, for example, if it's a clinic, most of the times the nurses that there that will take care of you. Now, if the doctor really has to show up or come in, then they'll call the doctor in, and then he'll arrive and take care of whatever's going on.
Mhm.
As far as lawyers go, the lawyers come usually after lunch. That's the time to go. During the daytime, that's when any walk-ins, the secretary will line them up, set them up, and go on from there. So what I'm saying is, if it's a doctor or lawyer's office, I wouldn't say don't go there in the morning. I'm just saying be aware that if you do go there in the morning, there's probability that neither doctor nor lawyer is going to be there. I'm just letting you know right
Hmm.
now. Pharmacies are a different story. Pharmacies are available in most pharmacists. But remember, I said most. Sometimes there are no pharmacists on duty, although they should. Keyword, they should. I'm not saying that they do, but they should have one on duty. And pharmacists, if you talk to one, they'll gladly help you out as much as possible. They're very knowledgeable. They'll tell you the difference between isopropyl alcohol versus the ethyl alcohol. Like, oh well, one has a higher covalent bond, one has one extra electron. But that kind of deal. They're very knowledgeable.
What I was starting to get to is the script thing. You get one script from one pharmacy, like in the United States. Once it's dropped somewhere, you won't have it for the other ones. And if they only got so many pills, yes, you can come back if they ever get it back. A lot of the items you can get,
Why is it pointing there?
because I was seeing what was back there, but I think there's people over here waiting to get money and stuff from
Yeah, the
the
usual.
government official guy.
Yeah,
They line up so the dog barks at him the whole
it's a
time.
holiday, so they're.
That and that and the dog's barking. But anyways, when it comes down to the script, there's a few pharmacies that will do specific medications. You can't go getting like certain pain pills and all these things on the side because one, it's not available. You need to go to the hospitals, or people are on these psych meds. They're on all these others that definitely require you to have each individual script, and usually has to be filled at a pharmacy or at the hospital level. But when it comes to blood pressure, water pills, I think they do tramadol at most of them, which is required for a heavy script in the U.S. and Canada and what do you call that? The UK or something. Okay, no, that might.
No, doesn't look official.
They don't look official. It's the.
Yeah, but he's wearing shorts.
Okay, well, so we're just waiting for the meds. So what I'm saying is that there are a few that we can go to that'll do it without a repeat of giving out a script. Like in Mexico, it was really easy. But there are sticklers. Like we used to get online from what was the one that we usually go to? Remind me, Watson's. We used to do it online for most of the meds that we're on, where we didn't have to keep bringing in a script and running back to the doctor. Now they're actually online. They won't do it anymore. So some of the Watsons in person will fill it, the others will not. Same with inside of the one in the mall. I forgot the name of that one over there that Robinson is under. It's not South Star.
Mercury.
Okay, they'll do most of it, but they rarely. That's the one next to immigration. But you'll see the people renew their immigration, then you see them stop there, and we did that on the occasion. So there are places that do it, but looks like South Star is doing it. It says that it's required it for the blood pressure and the water pill that I'm on, but it's doing it, and they're saying they're going to deliver today, which was shocking for me on Easter, being it's been a no. So, but. A lot of people will deal with those issues. You're going to get a lot of out of stock for sure. And so it does become a problem. I'm not going to run back and pay a doctor to rewrite me another script because they never get the items in. It could be weeks before they get it in. So there's your Tahoe.
No, that's the fake Tahoe guy.
The Benny Toad guy, or the Benny, or the hominy with the cheese sauce came through.
Bunny
Benny Toad. What do I call it?
Bunny Tog.
Bunny
Tog.
Bunny Tic Tacs.
No, that's the fake Tahoe guy. By the time I call him fake Tahoe guy because he comes over here. Most of the time he doesn't have any Tahoe, and I said
Bottom of the barrel, because it is.
yeah.
It's
And then I
almost
asked
10
him
o'clock.
why do you come here if you're out of Tahoe? Oh, and then he says because I sell my leftovers as tofu, and then in my head's like, then why? In my head's like, then why does he yell out Tahoe? He should be yelling out tofu. But anyway,
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
yeah,
saying.
no, that's why I don't even pay attention to this guy anymore. Yes, I know the guy. His name's Noel. But anyway, David Bryant. Oh no, Joe Riley says hello. This is American and BGC. Love you guys. Thanks so much, Joe Riley.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah. So again, just Same thing. Like I said, like again, I was talking about like clinics not having their physicians there, law officers that don't have their lawyers there. Now I'm talking about Tahoe guys who don't have Tahoe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. Yeah. 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 Thank you so much again. So much. James Smith. Appreciate the donuts. Love you, man. Thank you for the donuts.
Yeah, I think
Time to
we'll.
make the donuts.
Yeah, I think we'll wrap it.
Yeah. Say goodbye, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why you keep telling me that, but I don't get the you. It's the way. All right, never mind. You still have to announce it. You just don't. We've been through.
Yeah. Cindy G says thanks. Angelica Gonzaga says bye. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you guys for
Thank you so
coming
much,
in.
Ted, for being with us, our moderator, and our also other moderators, Scott and Isa's World. Thanks so much for being with us. Thank you, Sarah Tyson, for being with us. Victoria was with us today. Um, I think who else was here? Oh, Laura. Laura was here, one of our members. Yeah, Laura was with us too.
Laura, Scott, Ted, Sarah, Scott.
James Smith, happy Easter. All peace. Sarah Tyson says you have coffee for the donuts. Yeah, thanks so much, Sarah.
Thank you so much.
Joe says, unlike most, I don't find BGC to represent what I love about the Philippines.
Yeah, it's
Have a great day. Thank you,
we call it
guys.
commercial side. Thank you guys and enjoy your Easter. And we will be back on Tuesday. Yeah, it's hard saying what'll come up. So happy Easter, guys.
Happy Easter, guys. Bye.
And we will talk to you later. I'm gonna